Chapter 36:11. The Demon Lord said, "Rumor has it that Yang Jian obtained the inheritance of an ancient monk and is a lay disciple of Buddhism. However, as the saying goes, Buddhism is Tao. In the end, Yang Jian is still a Taoist." So that's how it is. Lin Feng could not help but nod his head. Within Shinko's temple, sounds of Tao could be heard. Lin Feng felt that there might be some precious treasures here. If he searched carefully, he might be able to find them. Was this temple built by Yang Jian in the past? Or was it built for him by later generations? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. He searched the third temple for something left behind by Shinko, but after searching for a while, he found nothing. This made Lin Feng feel rather disappointed. Could it be that there's really nothing here? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. Or perhaps, it's just because those things are not fated to be with me? Lin Feng felt that it was impossible for nothing to be left behind in Shinko's temple. There must be something shocking left behind. However, Lin Feng could not find those things. If he were to tear down the temple, there might be a possibility. However, Lin Feng would not do that. Because this temple was too important. The Taoists outside were able to resist the darkness erosion thanks to the existence of this temple. If he were to tear down the temple, who would be able to resist the darkness erosion? Perhaps all of them would perish here. Lin Feng was naturally aware of this situation. However, Lin Feng quickly regained his senses. He had been too stubborn earlier. He had even fallen into a demonic trap. How could the world's treasures be obtained by him? When he entered Shinko's temple, didn't he already obtain the Taoist sacred tree, the crepe myrtle tree? Ask, what treasure could be compared to the crepe myrtle tree in price? Many times. One had to know how to be content. Many thanks to Shinko for the crepe myrtle tree. This junior will take his leave. Lin Feng bowed 3 times to Shinko. Then, he walked outside. Finally, Lin Feng walked out of the temple. He's out. That temple is so extraordinary. I wonder what kind of treasure this Lin Feng obtained from the temple. I'm not sure, but I can imagine that there must be an amazing harvest. If I can kill him, I'll get at least 10 heaven-defying opportunities. Killing him is easier said than done. Our Holy War Alliance's geniuses are strong enough to kill him, but where are they? Asked Lin Feng. Send out sovereigns and saint emperors. They'll definitely be able to take this kid's life. When the cultivators of the Holy War Alliance saw Lin Feng come out, their eyes flashed with dense killing intent. The cultivators of the Holy War Alliance hated Lin Feng to the bone. Even in his dreams, he wanted to kill Lin Feng. Meanwhile, the members of the Immortal Gods Alliance and the Demon Alliance looked on as if they were watching a show. What did you get from the temple? Taoist Wu Liang looked at Lin Feng and asked. Lin Feng said, a crepe myrtle tree. He didn't hide it from Taoist Wu Liang. Although this damn Taoist Wu Liang didn't seem very reliable most of the time. However, Taoist Wu Liang was indeed Lin Feng's sworn friend. He was one of Lin Feng's best friends. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't intend to hide what he had obtained from the temple from Taoist Wu Liang. After hearing the words crepe myrtle tree, Taoist Wu Liang's eyes almost popped out. The crepe myrtle tree was the sacred tree of Taoism. Naturally, Taoist Wu Liang knew about it. Lin Feng knew about the crepe myrtle tree from Taoist Wu Liang. What a heaven-defying opportunity. As the saying goes, when we meet, we get half. Split the crepe myrtle tree into 2. Each of us gets half a crepe myrtle tree. Taoist Wu Liang grinned. This damn Taoist Wu Liang's eyes were glowing green. He couldn't wait to rob Lin Feng clean right now. Lin Feng rolled his eyes and said, wouldn't it be dead if it's split into 2? Taoist Wu Liang said, a sacred tree like the crepe myrtle tree, even if it's split into 2, it won't die. Hurry up and do it. This Taoist Wu Liang can't wait to have half of the crepe myrtle tree. Splitting the crepe myrtle tree into 2, this damn Taoist Wu Liang could even come up with such a wicked idea. Lin Feng had a new understanding of Taoist Wu Liang's shamelessness. He said, the crepe myrtle tree has already developed a spiritual consciousness and is very powerful. The crepe myrtle tree chose to follow me, which means that it trusts me. So, don't have any more ideas about the crepe myrtle tree. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Taoist Wu Liang felt as if his heart was being scratched by 100 claws. He really wanted to get the crepe myrtle tree, but at present, there was no hope. At this time, Lin Feng suddenly noticed that the crepe myrtle tree was moving. A branch separated from the crepe myrtle tree, and the branch that separated from it was extremely extraordinary, because the branch that separated from it was surrounded by the sacred light. And there were runes surging out, but in the end, those runes converged back into the body. Then the branch flew out. Lin Feng was surprised. He roughly understood the meaning of the crepe myrtle tree. The crepe myrtle tree separated a branch and let Lin Feng give this branch to Taoist Wu Liang. What a vigorous vitality! Lin Feng was very surprised. This branch was extraordinary. Its vitality was as majestic as the sea. It was not like an ordinary branch at all. It was really shocking and moving. Such a tree branch was too extraordinary. Lin Feng guessed that this should be one of the trump cards left by the crepe myrtle tree. The crepe myrtle tree following him was also a gamble. In case it lost the gamble, at that time, it would be beyond redemption. So the crepe myrtle tree left a branch. Perhaps the crepe myrtle tree sensed the extraordinariness of Taoist Wu Liang. Therefore, it took the initiative to let Lin Feng give this branch to Taoist Wu Liang to cultivate. In the future, the crepe myrtle tree following him, if it really met with misfortune, at that time, in the new life cultivated by this branch, perhaps one day, it would be able to return. Take this crepe myrtle tree branch. Maybe it can cultivate a new crepe myrtle tree. Lin Feng handed the branch to Taoist Wu Liang. Taoist Wu Liang glanced at the crepe myrtle tree branch and finally revealed a smile on his face. He hurriedly put away the crepe myrtle tree branch, afraid that others would see it. The great battle outside was still very fierce. Dozens of Taoists and the terrifying existence in the darkness fought until the sky fell and the earth cracked. The sun and moon lost their light. The land of death seemed to be about to collapse. Such a battle was really shocking. The erosion of the darkness was blocked by dozens of Taoists. And the sky, it gradually brightened up. When the first beam of light shone down, the darkness that swallowed heaven and earth receded quickly like the tide. Heaven and earth. Brightness was restored again. The sun rose. The darkness dissipated. The earth recovered. A new day began. Chapter 36:12. One by one, the Taoist priests walked towards the mountain peak. They were so holy and otherworldly, like the lords of the great Tao, surrounded by holy light. Like saints who had achieved the Tao, dozens of Taoist priests entered the temple again. Lin Feng guessed. These Taoist priests were the ones who listened to Shinko's preaching in the past. They imprinted themselves in Shinko's temple to protect the mountain peak in the darkness. The temple gradually became illusory. In reality, last night, many people tried to enter the temple. However, only Lin Feng succeeded in entering the temple. Everyone else failed. Many cultivators were extremely curious about Shinko's temple. They wanted to know everything about the temple. They also wanted to know what treasures were in the temple. But they couldn't enter the temple. Naturally, all of this was for naught. Shinko's temple became more and more illusory. Night fell. When darkness struck, Shinko's temple appeared. But when the darkness faded, when the day appeared, true Lord Xianxing Temple, on the other hand, would conceal one's body. What a pity! We couldn't enter the temple. Many cultivators sighed. They felt extremely regretful that they couldn't enter Shinko's temple to explore. That person is Lin Feng. Beside him is that wicked Taoist priest, Lin Feng, who entered Shinko's temple before. At this time, a cultivator said aloud. As soon as this was said, it caused an uproar. Many people were shocked. Lin Feng had surprisingly entered the Xianxing Celestial Emperor's temple. How incredible! So he is Lin Feng. Among the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance, there was an expert who looked coldly at Lin Feng. That was an Emperor-level expert. His combat strength was exceptionally strong. This Emperor-level expert wanted to kill Lin Feng. This was a very terrifying existence. He came from the Eight-Winged clan. This race was born with 8 pairs of wings, and this race had a special characteristic. Although their bodies were similar to humans, the men of this race had eagle noses and eagle eyes. They looked very ugly. However, The women of this clan were extremely beautiful. This cultivator from the Eight-Winged clan was an expert at the pinnacle of the Emperor's sect. In the future, he might have the chance to stabilize the venerable Emperor realm. This time, he took the risk to enter Destiny Swamp in search of opportunities. It was all for the sake of breaking through to the Emperor realm in one go. Such an existence was naturally and incomparably terrifying expert. Ordinary people would not dare to provoke them. Seeing that Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang were about to leave, the cultivator from the Eight-Winged clan quickly chased after him. Boom! It didn't have too many wings. The cultivators of the Eight-Winged clan immediately attacked. The 8 pairs of wings flapped wildly, and then a hurricane swept across the world. Endless storms. It directly charged towards Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang. Damn! A birdman is sneak attacking us, Taoist Wuliang shouted. After hearing how Taoist Wuliang addressed the cultivators of the Eight-Winged clan, the corners of many people's mouths twitched violently. The Eight-Winged clan was the royal family of the Holy War. This clan was abnormally terrifying. The 8 pairs of wings flapped gently. It could tear apart the starry sky world of 100,000 miles. But now, Taoist Wuliang actually used the word birdman to describe the cultivators of the Eight-Winged clan. It was simply audacious. Many people even thought that they had heard wrongly. The cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan was filled with monstrous killing intent. The 8 pairs of wings flapped crazily. The storm was getting stronger and stronger. Taoist Wuliang took out a white jade bottle. A powerful devouring power surged out of the white jade bottle. Suddenly, the storm was swallowed by the white jade bottle. Taoist Wuliang had many treasures in his hands. Most of the time, he didn't even need to make a move, because he could rely on various treasures to resolve his dangerous situation. This kind of means was not something that anyone could have. You do have some means. After killing the 2 of you, it seems that I can get a lot of good things. The cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan walked towards Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang step by step. His eyes flashed with dense killing intent. This terrifying existence did not put Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang in his eyes. In his opinion, killing Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang was not something difficult. A mere birdman dares to boast so shamelessly? Taoist Wuliang ridiculed. He continued to address this expert of the Eight-Winged clan as a birdman. As for Lin Feng, he said, there are simply too many people who don't know the difference between life and death. Although you have 8 more pairs of wings than others, your brain doesn't seem to be as smart as others. With such a weak cultivation base, you dare to come out and jump around? Are you tired of living? Lin Feng pursed his lips and said. Hearing Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang mocking the cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan, many people could not help but reveal bitter smiles. The cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan was a pinnacle expert of an emperor's sect. How powerful was he? And now, he was being humiliated by Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang. Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang did not seem to put this cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan in their eyes. Many people felt that Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang were too arrogant. This was especially true for the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance. They really hoped that the cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan would show off his might and kill Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang. I want your dog lives. The cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan roared in exasperation and quickly charged towards Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang. Kill this birdman, then tear off his wings and use them to make barbecue wings. The taste should be quite good, right? Lin Feng said with a grin. Taoist Wuliang's eyes immediately lit up and he said, it's been a long time since I enjoyed your barbecue. Today, we must try it. Of course, no problem. This birdman has 8 pairs of wings. It's enough for you to eat to your heart's content, Lin Feng said. The surrounding cultivators all looked at Lin Feng and Taoist Wuliang with dumbfounded expressions. A battle of life and death. These 2 fellows were actually thinking about food. Moreover, they seemed to want to make the wings of the cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan into barbecue wings. They really didn't put the cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan in their eyes at all. The eyes of the cultivator of the Eight-Winged clan flashed with dense killing intent. His 8 pairs of wings rapidly enlarged. Each pair of wings instantly expanded to a length of 100 meters. Moreover, his wings were densely covered with black feathers. Each feather emitted a cold luster. They were like peerless demonic swords. The 8 pairs of wings of the cultivator of the 8-winged clan flapped gently. In an instant, a clanging sound came from the void, as if a divine weapon had been unsheathed. After the 8 pairs of wings of the 8-winged clan were displayed in their strongest state, the power was extremely terrifying. Feeling the tyrannical aura emitted from the body of the cultivator of the 8-winged clan, many cultivators' faces became as pale as paper. They were deeply shocked by the powerful battle strength of the cultivator of the 8-winged clan. "Now, you can all die." The voice of the cultivator of the 8-winged clan was indifferent. The power of his 8 pairs of wings was really powerful. They gently streaked across the void. In an instant, the void was directly torn apart. Cracks began to appear in the void. These 8 pairs of wings were like 8 supreme treasures. They enveloped Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang. Then, Chapter 36:13. These experts from the royal families of the myriad races were indeed not to be underestimated. Their bloodline was already very powerful. When they were at a lower realm, they could already challenge those of a higher realm. Moreover, they had already broken through to the peak of the Emperor realm. Therefore, the combat strength they displayed was really shocking. "Let's join forces and kill him." Lin Feng looked at Wu Liang Taoist and said, "This cultivator from the 8-winged clan was indeed very powerful." Lin Feng believed that it wouldn't be a problem to kill the cultivator from the 8-winged clan with his own means. However, it would take some time. After all, the strength of the cultivator from the 8-winged clan was not made of paper. This cultivator from the 8-winged clan was still very powerful. However, if he joined forces with Wu Liang Taoist, the time needed to kill the cultivator from the 8-winged clan would be greatly reduced. The cultivator from the 8-winged clan was indeed powerful. However, it was still not enough to contend against the joint attack of Lin Feng and Wu Liang Taoist. Since there was a simpler way to kill the cultivator from the 8-winged clan, why would they use a more difficult way to kill him? Whether it was Lin Feng or Wu Liang Taoist, they were fearless. To put it bluntly, so what if Lin Feng and Wu Liang Taoist stirred up trouble in the heavenly sage great world? They were not from the heavenly sage great world. If they really couldn't do it, they could just leave the heavenly sage great world. The starry sky world was so big. Was there no place to stay? Moreover, when Lin Feng and Wu Liang Taoist came to the heavenly sage great world, they didn't plan to stay here for too long. Lin Feng broke through to the Emperor realm. He would leave the heavenly sage great world. At most, Wu Liang Taoist wouldn't rob the tombs of the myriad race's ancestors. "Kill this birdman. I really want to eat roasted bird wings now." Wu Liang Taoist shouted loudly. Wu Liang Taoist waved his hand, and a golden pair of scissors flew out. The tail of the golden pair of scissors was engraved with a dragon's head. This was a very powerful magic treasure called the Golden Dragon Scissors. With a light pinch, it could easily destroy ordinary bronze artifacts. If it pinched a person's body, it would definitely break the person's body. When Wu Liang Taoist to attack, Lin Feng used an empty space technique first. This was the use of the Tao of space. With Lin Feng as the center, the space within a 1,000-meter radius seemed to have been sealed. Only Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang could move freely in the confined space. As for the cultivator from the 8-winged clan, his body was not completely immobilized. However, his speed was also greatly suppressed. At the same time, Lin Feng utilized the Bing mantra, controlling the 3 stone swords to fly out with lightning-like speed towards the cultivators from the 8-winged clan. The power of the 3 stone swords was boundless. It shook lightly. The void collapsed. It was truly powerful to the extreme, shocking everyone. Clang, clang, clang. The stone sword collided with the wings of the 8-winged clan, and a series of clanging sounds could be heard. The sounds were like 2 peerless divine weapons clashing together. The 3 stone swords blocked the attacks of the 8-winged clan's cultivators. At the same time, Taoist Wu Liang's golden flood dragon scissors took advantage of this opportunity to quietly arrive beside the 8-winged clan's cultivator. The golden flood dragon scissors locked onto its target. Then, the scissors snapped. It directly cut off one of the 8-winged clan's cultivator's wings. "Ah, my wings!" After the eight-winged clan's cultivator lost one of his wings, he immediately let out an incomparably mournful scream. Blood gushed out from the broken wing. Good chance. Lin Feng's face suddenly revealed an incomparably cold expression. The three stone swords took advantage of the eight-winged clan's cultivator's injury and quickly rushed forward. Lin Feng was constantly increasing the power of the three stone swords. Under his control, the power of the three stone swords was raised to the peak level. The three stone swords once again slashed towards the eight-winged clan's cultivator. The eight-winged clan's cultivator's wings flapped as fast as lightning, blocking the attacks of the three stone swords. But this time, because the eight-winged clan's cultivator was injured, his battle strength had greatly decreased. In addition, Lin Feng had already raised the power of the three stone swords to the extreme. It was to achieve a sure kill attack. Therefore, the eight-winged clan's cultivator was unable to completely resolve the attack of the three stone swords. Although the eight-winged clan's cultivator blocked the attack of two stone swords. However, the third stone sword pierced through the eight-winged clan's cultivator's body. How could this be? The eight-winged clan's cultivator looked at the stone sword that pierced through his body in disbelief. An extremely unwilling expression appeared on his face. He didn't want to die. However, he felt his consciousness becoming more and more blurred. Heavens, this eight-winged clan's cultivator seemed to be only one step away from the Emperor realm. He was actually killed by Lin Feng and that wicked Taoist. Moreover, they killed him so easily. The combat strength of these two is too terrifying. The rumors in the outside world are indeed true. These two are indeed powerful. Of course, it has a lot to do with the supreme treasures they have. If they didn't have those powerful treasures, perhaps they wouldn't be so powerful. But then again, treasures are also a part of one's strength. If you want to kill these two, you'll either need to send out a few supreme prodigies or a powerhouse above the Emperor realm. Otherwise, it's absolutely impossible to kill these two. The surrounding cultivators began to discuss one after another. They looked at Lin Feng and Wu Liang Taoist with horrified expressions. Bang! Lin Feng rushed forward and directly tore off the eight-winged clan's cultivator's wings. Ah! The eight-winged clan's cultivator screamed miserably. Does that guy really want to roast the eight-winged clan's cultivator's wings? A cultivator said as the corner of his mouth twitched violently. The eight-winged clan's cultivator was a tyrannical existence, but now he had become someone else's dish. What a pitiful thing. After tearing off the eight-winged clan's cultivator's wings, Lin Feng threw a punch at the eight-winged clan's cultivator. The eight-winged clan's cultivator's body exploded. Next, after Lin Feng collected the eight-winged clan's cultivator's source energy and storage ring, he and Wu Liang Taoist flew into the distance. The rest of the people chose to avoid them. Lin Feng and Wu Liang Taoist were too cruel. Although the cultivators of the Holy War Alliance couldn't wait to cut Lin Feng and Wu Liang Taoist into pieces, but they knew it was best not to provoke these two people. If they didn't have enough strength to provoke these two people, wouldn't they be courting death? Lin Feng and Wu Liang Taoist landed on another mountain peak. Then, the two of them began to make a fire and cook. Lin Feng hadn't roasted meat for a while, but fortunately, his roasting technique hadn't been abandoned. He started a bonfire. He skewered the meat. Then, he sprinkled all kinds of ingredients. After doing all this, Lin Feng took out the eight-winged clan's cultivator's storage ring. Next, his divine sense invaded the storage ring of the eight-winged clan cultivator and began to search. This was an expert at the peak of the Emperor sect level. Chapter 36:14. The storage ring wasn't particularly big, but it wasn't small either. It was about 10 mu in size. The items inside were also dazzling. As a cultivator of the myriad race's imperial family and an emperor-level expert, he naturally had a lot of treasures on him. Moreover, this person seemed to have obtained some fortuitous encounters in the Swamp of Fate. Lin Feng even saw a few immortal herbs and immortal medicines that were more than 1,000,000 years old. Those immortal herbs and immortal medicines had just been sealed not long ago. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that he had obtained them from the Swamp of Fate. This is. When he saw one of the items, Lin Feng's face immediately revealed a shocked expression. That item. It was a stone. That stone was rather special. It had two sides. The front side was golden, while the back side was black. It was densely covered with runes. Lin Feng felt that the stone should be extremely extraordinary. It was an instinctive feeling. He used his divine will to probe the stone. However, Lin Feng's divine will was blocked by the stone. That stone was simply too extraordinary. Even a cultivator's divine will couldn't probe the stone. Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. What kind of stone is it? It can actually block the divine will's probing? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He felt that the stone was very special. Apart from that mysterious stone, Lin Feng also discovered another item. It was actually a piece of immortal iron. It was a material used to forge immortal tools. Although it was only the size of a fist, its value was immeasurable. There were many treasures on the Eight-Winged Clan's cultivators. However, the ones that truly piqued Lin Feng's interest were the mysterious stone and the piece of immortal iron. What treasures are inside? Taoist Wu Liang asked impatiently. Lin Feng took out the golden stone and the black stone, as well as the celestial iron. He said, "These two items should be the most extraordinary items. As for the other items, their value is far inferior to these two items." Blazing immortal iron. Taoist Wu Liang looked at the piece of immortal iron. The piece of immortal iron was surrounded by flames. This type of immortal iron was called Raging Inferno Immortal Iron. It was a type of immortal iron that was born from the flames. It was an extraordinary type of immortal iron. It was suitable to be forged into a fire-type artifact. The future. There was a high chance that it could evolve into an immortal artifact. Of course, whether or not these magic treasures could evolve into immortal artifacts did not depend on whether or not the materials used to forge them had reached immortal grade. The most important thing was what happened in the future. For example, did the owner of the magic treasure have the ability to upgrade the magic treasure to the immortal tier? In order to upgrade a magic treasure to the level of an immortal item, there was an extremely high requirement for the cultivator's realm. The immeasurable Taoist had his eyes on the Inferno Immortal Iron. Clearly, he had taken a fancy to the Inferno Immortal Iron. This was also in line with Lin Feng's intentions. Lin Feng felt that the stone, which was half gold and half black, was very mysterious. Perhaps it was hiding an extraordinary secret. As such, Lin Feng was the most interested in that stone. "The immortal iron is yours. The stone is mine," Lin Feng said. "No problem." Taoist Wu Liang nodded. Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang shared the rest equally. 2 hours later, the fragrance of meat began to spread out. It was really too fragrant. Anyone who smelled it would probably have a stomachache. Such delicious roasted wings. It was enough to make those fasters drool. During this period of time, the news of Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang spread like wildfire. It was easy for people to recognize them as a pair. The news of Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang working together to kill an expert of the Eight-Winged Clan and then cutting off 8 pairs of wings to roast wings spread out. This matter caused quite a stir. The royal family of the myriad races was high and mighty. Some of the royal families of the myriad races did have special hobbies. For example, some royal families of the myriad races liked to eat human babies raw. This was because, among all the races, the skin of the babies born from the human race was the most delicate. The meat quality was also the best. There were also some perverted cultivators of the myriad races who liked to eat human meat raw. In fact, it was not strange for this kind of thing to happen among the myriad races. The myriad races thought that they were high and mighty because of history. They hated the human race very much. Therefore, the myriad races liked to enslave the human race. When dealing with the human race, their methods were also more brutal. It was common to treat the human race as food. But the human race treated the cultivators of the myriad races as food. This had never happened before. This was because the human race couldn't afford to offend the myriad races. They couldn't wait to avoid the myriad races. Who would offend the myriad races? Not to mention killing the cultivators of the royal family of the 10,000 races and treating them as food. This sounded too crazy, but Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang really did it. Cultivators arrived one after another and stood in the distance to watch. They saw the huge roasted wings skewered on the bonfire. The corners of many cultivators' mouths twitched violently. The human race actually dared to treat the royal family of the myriad races as food. This was a blatant slap to the face. This was unacceptable to many of the myriad races. Lin Feng and that wicked Taoist are two scourges. If we don't kill them, it won't be enough to quell the anger in our hearts. A cultivator of the myriad races said coldly, "How can they be killed so easily? They are too brutal. We need to wait for the time being. There will definitely be experts who will kill them," a cultivator said. At this time, the roasted wings were already cooked. Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang each held a huge roasted wing and started eating. These two guys each held a wine jar. While eating the roasted wings, while drinking, it was truly a great enjoyment in life. What a brutal guy. The cultivators of the Immortal God Alliance and the Demon Alliance clicked their tongues in wonder. Although there were many cultivators of the myriad races among them, they were sworn enemies with the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance. Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang were eating the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance. It had nothing to do with them, and they were very happy to watch the show. Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang ate all the roasted wings like a tornado. Each of them also drank 10 jars of wine. Now, they were so full that they couldn't move. I heard that there are many races of the myriad races that have wings, such as the Golden Eagle race, the Heavenly Lion race, and so on. We can consider catching a few back, chopping off their wings and continuing to roast them. I wonder if the taste is better than the roasted wings made by the cultivators of the 8-winged race? Taoist Wu Liang said. Now that you mention it, I can't wait to catch a few cultivators of the myriad races with wings, Lin Feng said. After the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance heard the conversation between Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang, their expressions became extremely gloomy. Some of the cultivators of the myriad races with wings quickly left this area, fearing that they would be targeted by the brutal duo of Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang. At that time, they would really want to cry but have no tears. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Chapter 36:15. More than 10 cultivators landed on the mountain peak where Lin Feng and Taoist Immeasurable Cloud were. Most of these people were cultivators of the myriad races, but there were 2 human cultivators among them. Although the aura of this group of people was very terrifying. However, Lin Feng felt that this group of people did not have any hostility towards him and Taoist Immeasurable. This meant that this group of people in front of him, they should not be cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance. If they were not cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance, there was a high chance that they were cultivators of the Immortal Gods Alliance or the Demon Alliance. Lin Feng saw the 2 human cultivators, so he guessed that these people were most likely cultivators of the Immortal Gods Alliance. This was because there were only human cultivators in the Immortal Gods Alliance. May I ask if you are Brother Lin and Taoist Immeasurable? At this moment, a cultivator in blue smiled and cupped his fists before asking. This cultivator in blue was one of the 2 human cultivators. The other human cultivator was a woman. She was wearing a long purple dress, which completely revealed her graceful and alluring figure. It was really too charming, and this man and woman had some similarities in appearance. Lin Feng guessed. This man and woman might be a pair of siblings. Lin Feng nodded and said, "That's right. May I know who you are?" The blue-clothed male cultivator said, "I'm Wu Xiu. I'm a cultivator of the Immortal Gods Alliance." "So it's Brother Wu. Nice to meet you." Lin Feng cupped his fists. Taoist Immeasurable said, "It seems that the people of the Immortal Gods Alliance have something to discuss with the 2 of us." Taoist Immeasurable had always been a straightforward person who did things his own way. If there was something in his heart, he would not hide it. Wu Xiu said, "That's right. However, we need to find a place to discuss this matter properly. What do the 2 of you think?" Taoist Immeasurable said, "If there are many benefits, we will naturally be interested." Wu Xiu said, "Don't worry, Taoist Immeasurable. There will definitely be many benefits from this matter." "All right, then let's find a quieter place to discuss this matter," Lin Feng said. Everyone nodded. Everyone left the place. Then, he found a quiet place. Wu Xiu introduced the group of cultivators on their side to Lin Feng. As Lin Feng had guessed, the female cultivator was Wu Xiu's younger sister. Her name was Wu Yuehan. Among the other people, there were three that caught Lin Feng's attention. Two men and one woman. The female cultivator was wearing a fiery red dress. Her lips were fiery red, and her figure was hot and sexy. That female cultivator was called Ice Lake Snow. Her name didn't really match her appearance because the name Ice River Snow gave people a feeling of being as cold as ice, keeping people at a distance of 1,000 miles. She was as cold as a fairy from the Moon Palace. It could only be observed from afar. Do not approach. But in reality, she was so sexy and charming. She had a pair of charming eyes. Among the other two, a cultivator dressed in Confucian robes was actually an expert of the Confucian Tao, the way of Confucianism, for the inheritance of the human clan. It was rare to see a cultivator from another race who was actually a successor of the Confucian Tao. However, this Confucian cultivator was not a human cultivator. He was a cultivator from the myriad races. However, no one knew exactly which race it belonged to. After some introductions, Lin Feng found out that this cultivator was called Lu Haoren. The second cultivator was from the Lightning Clan. The Lightning Clan was one of the myriad races. This clan had a trace of lightning between their eyebrows. It was rumored that this clan had the power to control lightning. They were an extremely powerful clan. This cultivator from the Lightning Clan was called Zhang Lei. Lin Feng had the feeling that among those cultivators, there was a strong cultivator. Wu Xiao, Wu Yuehan, Ice Lake Snow, Lu Haoren, and Zhang Lei were the most powerful. The other people's cultivation bases should be slightly weaker than theirs. Of course, the rest of them were also the top figures of the younger generation of the Immortal God Alliance. After getting to know each other, they went straight to the point. Wu Xiao said, "We heard that Brother Lin's attainments in array formations are unparalleled, while Taoist priest Wu Yang's attainments in feng shui are unparalleled. This time, we came to invite Brother Lin and Taoist priest Wu Yang to find a cave abode with us." "Oh, cave abode? What cave abode?" Lin Feng couldn't help but ask, puzzled. Wu Xiao said, "To be precise, it should be an immortal abode called the Wandering Immortal Abode. Rumor has it that it was left behind by the Wandering Immortal." "Wandering Immortal? What kind of person is this?" Lin Feng asked, puzzled. "This is an immortal level expert. In the past, he represented the heaven realm and patrolled the heavens. Later on, it was said that he died in the Destiny Swamp. Before he died, he built a cave abode. This cave abode is the Wandering Immortal Abode." Wu Yuehan said. Her voice was very clear and pleasant. It sounded like pearls of different sizes falling on a jade plate. Taoist priest Wu Yang said, "If we don't have any clues, how difficult would it be to find the Wandering Immortal Abode in the Destiny Swamp?" Lin Feng agreed with Taoist priest Wu Yang's words. If they only knew the whereabouts of the Wandering Immortal Abode without any specific information, then the Wandering Immortal Abode was destined to be difficult to find. "It's not that we don't have a keepsake. This is the keepsake." Wu Xiao took out an item. It was actually a piece of broken armor. This piece of armor was stained with a large amount of blood. The blood had already dried up. However, it still emitted a bloody smell. "What is this?" Lin Feng could not help but ask after seeing the blood-stained armor. Wu Xiao said, "This is the Wandering Immortal's armor. In the battle back then, his armor was shattered. From this, it can be seen how tragic that battle was. In fact, when he entered the Destiny Swamp, it was said that he was chased by a terrifying existence. He had no choice but to escape into the Destiny Swamp, but in the end, he still could not escape the fate of death." Hearing this, Lin Feng and Taoist priest Wu Yang were very shocked. This was an immortal, a high and mighty existence. He was so powerful and terrifying. He was actually injured to such an extent. Moreover, he had no choice but to escape into the land of death to avoid being chased. What kind of existence was the one who had attacked the Wandering Immortal in the past? Thinking about it, it made one's hair stand on end. With this keepsake, perhaps we can try to find the Wandering Immortal Abode. Lin Feng said, "That's great." The others could not help but reveal looks of joy. "We need to use this blood-stained armor," Lin Feng said. "No problem," Wu Xiao said and handed the blood-stained armor to Lin Feng. After receiving the blood-stained armor, suddenly, Lin Feng felt a bone-chilling coldness. Vaguely, he seemed to see an illusory world. In that illusory world, Chapter 36:16. That scene flashed by and then disappeared. That image might have been imprinted on the broken armor. In the past, when the armor was complete, it might have been glorious. But now, it was broken and had no value. Lin Feng looked at it carefully, but he couldn't find anything special about it. The armor had been broken for too long. Its divinity was almost completely gone. Of course, the dried blood was still extraordinary. It contained a special power. Lin Feng handed the armor to Wu Yang Taoist. This armor was made from the starry sky immortal metal. Since the owner of the armor was someone like the wandering immortal, this armor must have been an immortal artifact, right? Wu Yang Taoist took the armor and said after looking at it. Everyone was shocked. Wu Yang Taoist could tell the material of the armor at a glance. That was enough to show how extraordinary this guy was. Who knew how many secrets this damned Taoist had in his heart that no one knew about? Even an immortal artifact was broken. The battle in the past is unimaginable. Wu Xiao and the others couldn't help but exclaim. The seductive and sexy beauty, Han Jiangxue, asked, "Can the two of you find any clues from this broken armor?" Han Jiangshue's voice was charming. After hearing it, his bones were about to melt. She really wanted his life. Beauties were poisonous. Perhaps she was talking about women like Han Jiangxue? Lin Feng said, "Maybe we can give it a try, but it's hard to say if we can succeed." Wu Yang Taoist said, "Everyone, please wait for a moment. The two of us will study it together." Han Jiangxue and the others nodded. They didn't say anything. Lin Feng and Wu Yang Taoist planned to use the Khanate 8 trigrams to deduce the location of the wandering immortal mansion. This broken armor was the medium used to deduce the location of the wandering immortal mansion. Han Jiangxue and the others looked at Lin Feng and Wu Yang Taoist, who were squatting on the ground and drawing something, with great interest. They were very curious about Lin Feng and Wu Yang Taoist. One was a rising powerhouse of the new generation of the human race in the 9 regions. The other was a grave robber who was hated by everyone. Such a combination really made people very curious. After a series of deductions, Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Yang stood up. Lin Feng said, "Everyone, we have tried to deduce a few places. We don't know if we can find the wandering immortal mansion. Let's go and take a look." Ice Lake Snow and the others nodded. Then, everyone followed Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang to the place where they had deduced. The Swamp of Destiny was extremely dangerous because there were many unknown creatures here. These unknown creatures were one of the most terrifying dangers. Of course, apart from these creatures, there were many other dangers that could not be explained. For example, the dark erosion that had appeared earlier. How terrifying was that? Lin Feng's group arrived at the first deduction location. This place was a valley, and in the middle of the valley was a huge cave. The group of people entered the cave and walked towards the interior of the cave. The cave was too quiet, and it was pitch black. They could not even see their own fingers. When they reached the depths of the cave, they saw a pair of eyes shining in the darkness. It was a pair of blood-red eyes. They did not know what kind of creature it was. When they saw the blood-red eyes, everyone felt as if they had fallen into an endless hell. The aura of death enveloped them. This made everyone feel a deep sense of horror. What kind of creature was that? How could it be so terrifying? They could not get close to it. It made them feel hopeless. Perhaps, if anyone saw that terrifying creature, they would be like Lin Feng and the others who could not suppress the feeling of horror. "Let's go," Lin Feng shouted in a deep voice. They did not dare to stay any longer and quickly rushed outside. The rest of the people also came back to their senses. Then, they rushed outside in a panic. That unknown terrifying creature pounced towards the crowd. However, there was a clattering sound. It was the sound of chains colliding. That powerful creature seemed to be restrained by the chains. Hence, its range of movement was very small. It was unable to pounce over. Lin Feng and the others left the cave without a hitch. After coming out, everyone's faces could not help but reveal a relieved expression. The situation just now was really too dangerous. They did not know what kind of terrifying existence it was. But the only thing they knew was, That terrifying existence was indeed too powerful. Fortunately, it was imprisoned. Otherwise, Lin Feng and the others would be in extreme danger. This was the land of death. Whether it was the land of death in the 9 regions or the land of death in other worlds, it was full of danger and the unknown. Moreover, in many of the land of death, there were not only terrifying creatures that were imprisoned, there were also many powerful creatures that had long lost all consciousness and were cursed. The land of death was not only dangerous, and there were too many secrets hidden. The land of death itself was like a mystery. Under the lead of Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang, everyone continued to look for the wandering immortal mansion in other places. Everyone knew that the Swamp of Fate was a place full of danger. Here, they would face great danger at all times. Therefore, no matter what happened when they were looking for the wandering immortal mansion, they should have been able to foresee it. Therefore, no one would complain that Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang had brought them to an extremely dangerous place. Cultivators were full of adventurous spirit. At this moment, it was fully displayed. The group of people came to a lake for the second time. But here, they were attacked by a black evil dragon. This black evil dragon was extremely terrifying. Its combat power was heaven-defying. The group of people worked together, but there were still a few people who were injured. Fortunately, the group of people managed to escape successfully. Fortunately, they had extraordinary means. If it were other people who had encountered this terrifying black evil dragon, they would have suffered heavy casualties. They might even have been wiped out. After searching for 2 places, the sky gradually darkened. It's dark. We need to find a mountain to hide, Lin Feng said. Wu Xiu, Han Jiangshui, and the others knew how terrifying the dark corrosion was. No one had any objections. The group of people found a mountain. They climbed up the mountain. There were many cultivators on the mountain. They were scattered all over. They were clearly separated. After an hour, the sun set. Then, endless darkness swept over from afar and swallowed all the light. Darkness. Chapter 36:17. When the darkness once again eroded the entire world. Just like the first night, at the peak of the mountain. Similarly, a temple was revealed. The temple was shrouded in endless holy light, exuding a sacred power. That temple was the Shinko temple from before. What is going on? Why would the Shinko temple appear on this mountain? Lin Feng couldn't help but be confused. Then, he thought of a possibility. Could it be? At the peak of every mountain in the Swamp of Destiny, why would a Shinko temple appear? In reality, these temples of true Lord Xianxing were basically the same divine temple, but due to some special reasons, they could appear on different mountains. The darkness was invading the mountains. Fortunately, the holy light that surged out of the temple protected the mountain peak. Dozens of Taoists flew out. They charged into the dark world. They fought against the unknown existence in the dark world. This seemed to be their destiny. Countless years had passed. They were still fighting against the terrifying existence in the dark, but no one knew what kind of existence it was. The mountain peak was very quiet. Many Taoists were trying their best to make use of the limited time to recover. This was because when the day came, they would once again face new dangers or opportunities. They had to adjust their states. Otherwise, many sudden situations would be difficult to deal with when the time came. Lin Feng and the others found a place to rest. Lin Feng leaned against a tree and closed his eyes to rest. At this moment, a fragrant wind blew. Lin Feng opened his eyes. He realized that Ice Lake Snow had come to him. Lin Feng wasn't familiar with Ice Lake Snow. He didn't know much about this woman, and she didn't say much today. Lin Feng didn't know why Ice Lake Snow came to him. What was her motive? Of course, Lin Feng wouldn't show his doubts on his face. That would make it easy for others to see through his thoughts. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Fairy, you haven't rested yet?" Ice Lake Snow nodded and said, "Although my body is tired, I am not in the mood to sleep." Jiang Shui has some things that she would like to ask Lin Gongzi about, but she was not sure if it would be convenient for Lin Gongzi to clear her doubts. "Fairy, please speak your mind," Lin Feng said. "I heard that 9 prefectures is the starting point of the myriad worlds, so it's a very special place. There are 9 ancient lamps in 9 prefectures, known as the 9 prefectures lanterns. They can stabilize the mountains and rivers of 9 prefectures. I heard that 9 prefectures was almost destroyed like many other great worlds, but thanks to the 9 prefectures' lanterns, they were able to stabilize the mountains and rivers of 9 prefectures. I'm sure Lin Gongzi has heard of the 9 prefectures' lanterns. Lin Feng had naturally heard of the 9 prefectures' lantern. He had even seen the 9 prefectures' lantern. The Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp was a supreme treasure that Lin Feng had created after being inspired by the 9 Continents lamp. However, the 9 prefectures' lantern was only a legend to many. Lin Feng did not know why Ice Lake Snow was asking him about the 9 prefectures' lantern. Could it be that she was looking for the 9 prefectures' lantern? Lin Feng might not have been able to control the 9 prefectures' lantern, but he knew that it was an unimaginable treasure. It had stabilized the mountains and rivers of 9 prefectures, protecting them. If 9 prefectures lost the 9 prefectures' lantern, who knew what would happen? Lin Feng said, I've heard of the 9 prefectures' lantern, but it's only a legend. I'm not sure if the 9 prefectures' lantern really exists. Furthermore, I'm acquainted with all the top experts in 9 prefectures. I've never heard them mention the 9 prefectures' lantern, so in my opinion, the 9 prefectures' lantern is just a legend. There are too many legends like that, and sometimes we just need to treat them as stories. Just listen to them and don't take them to heart. Ice Lake Snow smiled. Why do you sound so sure? It seems like you're trying to hide something. Could it be that you've seen the 9 prefectures' lantern? Ice Lake Snow was an intelligent woman, but she was also very suspicious. She was suspicious of Lin Feng. She did not take these suspicions to heart. Instead, she said it directly. Perhaps she was trying to test Lin Feng. She wanted to see Lin Feng's reaction. Lin Feng said, Don't you already have an answer? Why are you still asking me? Ice Lake Snow couldn't help but giggle. This seductive and sexy woman's smile seemed to add to her seductive beauty. It made people involuntarily have a desire to conquer her. Ice Lake Snow said, Don't overthink it. I'm just curious about the 9 prefectures' lantern after reading about it. That's why I came here to find out more about it. However, it seems like the 9 prefectures' lantern is just a legend. It's getting late, so I won't disturb you any longer, said Han Jiangshui bowing in front of Lin Feng. Then, she walked towards the resting area not far away. Lin Feng frowned. Why was Ice Lake Snow asking about the 9 prefectures' lantern? Could it really be like what she had said? She was just curious about the 9 prefectures' lantern after reading about it. Was that why she came here to find out more about it? It seemed reasonable. However, Lin Feng did not believe her. Lin Feng felt that Ice Lake Snow was trying to find out more about the 9 prefectures' lantern. She must have an ulterior motive. But what was her motive? Lin Feng was not sure. Lin Feng decided not to think about it anymore. They had fought a few battles during the day. Hence, Lin Feng was exhausted. He sat cross-legged and activated the Archean Dragonesque elephant art. Then, he slowly recovered his exhausted body. That night, Fate Swamp was still not peaceful. The darkness that had invaded the world was still shocking. Luckily, the temple protected everyone. Day arrived. The darkness retreated like the tide. Lin Feng and the rest set off once again. They continued to search for the patrol immortal residence. After searching 5 places, they still did not find anything. Instead, they were in danger. Finally, when they found the 6th place, that blood-stained armor actually vibrated violently. Found it. It's nearby. Lin Feng and the great Taoist priest's eyes twinkled. Everyone else's eyes lit up as well. In the end, Lin Feng and the boundless Taoist priest looked at a chasm in the distance. They had a strong feeling. Patrol immortal residence. Chapter 36:18. That abyss was about 10 meters long. There was a cold aura emitting from the abyss. Lin Feng and the others arrived in front of the abyss. They looked towards the abyss and saw that it was pitch black. They couldn't see clearly what was going on inside, and they didn't know what terrifying things were inside the abyss. But presumably, such a place wasn't safe. We need to go down and take a look, but such a place must be extremely dangerous. Everyone be careful, Lin Feng reminded. Everyone nodded. Then, the group of people flew carefully towards the abyss. A cold aura swept over. Everyone couldn't help but shiver. The cold aura that filled the abyss. Even Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little creeped out. The others also had the same feeling. So everyone became more and more careful. The visibility in the abyss was extremely low, and this place could suppress a cultivator's divine sense. It was impossible to use divine sense to explore the surrounding situation. After everyone came here, it was as if they had lost the ability to explore the outside world. About halfway down, Lin Feng suddenly felt that something was wrong. An indescribable feeling swept through his heart. Everyone, be careful. Something seems to be approaching us, Wu Xiu said in a deep voice. As soon as he finished speaking, the densely packed black tentacles quickly wrapped around everyone. It was simply overwhelming. There were countless of them. Upon closer inspection, it wasn't a real black tentacle. It was actually a type of black vine. On those vines, they were covered with densely packed small thorns. Small thorns. They could easily pierce into a cultivator's body. And those small thorns obviously contained a highly toxic poison. When he saw the vines that covered the sky and covered the earth coming towards him, he was shocked. Everyone's expression couldn't help but change. If he were to be entangled by those vines, he would most likely end up dead. Everyone was very clear about this. But those vines had already entwined over. Now, everyone could only resist the vines' attack. Everyone took out their magic treasures and slashed at the vines. Lin Feng took out 3 stone swords and slashed at those vines. When the 3 stone swords slashed the vines one by one, the 3 stone swords slashed the vines. Clanging sounds of collisions could be heard. That kind of collision sound. It was simply deafening. Lin Feng was shocked. Even the stone sword was unable to sever these vines. Aren't these vines a little too scary? What made Lin Feng extremely puzzled was, shouldn't these vines be vegetation? Why? Just now, when the stone sword slashed the vines, there was a sound of metal colliding. This point, Lin Feng was puzzled. The rest of the people were obviously unable to pose any threat to these vines. One of the cultivators was entangled by vines. The cultivator screamed in agony. A terrifying scene unfolded. The cultivator's flesh, blood, and soul were instantly devoured by the vines. All that was left was a skeleton with traces of blood. As for the skeleton, it was thrown to the bottom of the abyss by the vines. One had to know. These young experts of the Immortal God Alliance were the top experts of the younger generation. All of them were powerful. In the future, they would all become overlords. But now, that young cultivator had died tragically under the attack of the vines. From this, one could tell how terrifying these vines were. Now, everyone had a creepy feeling in their hearts, because they could feel the threat of death from these vines. If they couldn't think of a way to get rid of these vines, when the time came, even they would most likely perish here. Lin Feng took out the heaven fire. He wanted to use the heaven fire to deal with these creepy vines. But this time, Lin Feng failed, because these vines weren't vegetation-type vines. They seemed to be made of metal. So, Lin Feng's heaven fire couldn't hurt these vines. The rest of the people obviously recognized the heaven fire. So when they saw that Lin Feng's heaven fire couldn't do any harm to the vines, everyone's expression became extremely unsightly. Could it be? Would they really die under the attack of the vines? At this moment, Ice Lake Snow gritted her teeth. She seemed to have made a difficult decision. Ice Lake Snow took out an item. It was an Imperial Edict. The Imperial Edict was surrounded by immortal light. It gave off an intense vibration and immortal light. No one knew who wrote the Imperial Edict. It was extremely sacred. That Imperial Edict was obviously one of Ice Lake Snow's treasures. Magic treasures like Imperial Edicts were usually forbidden weapons. They had a lifespan. After a certain number of uses, the Imperial Edict would be destroyed. Ice Lake Snow's Imperial Edict could be used 2 more times. Under normal circumstances, Ice Lake Snow couldn't bear to use the Imperial Edict, because it was something she could use to save her life. But now, Ice Lake Snow had no choice but to use the Imperial Edict. Because of the current situation, it had reached a point where it couldn't be delayed. Ice Lake Snow's magic power entered the Imperial Edict, and it was successfully activated. In an instant, boundless sacred light surged from the Imperial Edict. The Imperial Edict suddenly became sacred. In the boundless sacred light, an ancient being appeared. That being was wearing a royal robe and a crown. Just like the ancient divine emperor. Light descends, dispel the darkness. The ancient being spoke. His voice was extremely loud and clear. It was as though a bell had rung. When the ancient being's voice fell, Yizichen's eyes lit up. In an instant, boundless sacred light. It shone on the world. When the sacred power shone down and came into contact with the vines let out a chi-chi-chi-chi sound. That was the sacred power. It caused a lot of damage to the invulnerable vines. The vines that were attacking Linfeng and the others quickly retracted. "Let's go," Ice Lake Snow said in a low voice. No one dared to hesitate. They all sped up and charged towards the bottom of the abyss. When they reached the bottom of the abyss, Ice Lake Snow kept the imperial edict. Linfeng noticed that there were already 9 cracks on Han Jiang Shui's letter. He guessed. Every time the imperial edict was used, there would be a crack. "So many corpses," someone said. Linfeng retracted his consciousness and looked towards the bottom of the abyss. He saw a huge pile of corpses at the bottom of the abyss. The densely packed corpses were probably the creatures that had been killed by the terrifying vines. Chapter 36:19. These skeletons were the skeletons of cultivators, as well as the skeletons of vicious beasts. Linfeng and the others had already seen how terrifying those vines were. It was estimated. Any creature that came to this abyss or flew over it would probably be attacked by those vines. Those vines were indeed powerful. They had both offense and defense, and they had almost no weaknesses. Now that he thought about how terrifying those vines were, Linfeng still felt a lingering fear. It should be the devil's vine. According to the legends, it's an extremely rare metal vine. Immeasurable Taoist said, "Metal vine? There are such vines?" Linfeng asked in surprise. Vines. Usually, they referred to vegetation. The term metal vines sounded unimaginable. Could it be a magic treasure? It's just that it's been made into a vine? Zhonglei said. Everyone looked at Immeasurable Taoist. Everyone was looking forward to the answer. Immeasurable Taoist said, "It's not a magic treasure. It's a vine with life. The creator is incomparably mysterious. Since he could create the stone race, he could naturally create other special races. For example, this devil's vine. This devil's vine is an incomparably strange vine. It's said that it's a vine born from a metal or called the devil's stone. This vine is extremely terrifying. Because it's made of metal, its defensive power is incomparably strong. Moreover, its attack power is extremely terrifying. It's almost impossible to find any weakness. Once targeted by such a vine, it would be disastrous." Just now, it was fortunate that Han Xinzi took out the Imperial Edict and neutralized the Devil's Vine's attack. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. After hearing Immeasurable Taoist's words, everyone finally knew what that powerful vine was. Everyone couldn't help but reveal a relieved expression. It was too dangerous before. But fortunately, now, everyone had resolved the crisis without any mishap. "Let's go and take a look," Linfeng said. He took the lead and walked towards the depths. He held the blood-stained armor in his hand. Now, the blood-stained armor was vibrating violently. It seemed to be telling Linfeng and the others that the wandering immortal mansion was not far away. Everyone was still very careful because they didn't know if there were other dangers in the abyss. Fortunately, there were no mishaps along the way. In the end, Linfeng and the others arrived at the deepest part of the abyss. A huge cave residence appeared in their line of sight. There were 4 ancient characters written on the cave abode. These were 4 large words written in ancient divine characters. The meaning of those words was patrolling immortal abode. Found it. We really found the wandering immortal abode. Many people couldn't help but reveal excited expressions. After going through untold hardships, they finally found this immortal mansion. Moreover, they even lost a person in the team. Everyone had narrowly escaped death. It was not easy to find the wandering immortal abode. Just as Linfeng and the others were about to enter the wandering immortal mansion, whoosh whoosh whoosh, the sound of something piercing through the air could be heard as over 30 cultivators quickly flew over. "Ha ha ha ha! I never thought that a group of juniors like you would actually be able to find a place like the Wandering Immortal Mansion. This is truly a surprise to me." A loud laugh could be heard. The one who laughed was a middle-aged cultivator. This middle-aged cultivator's aura was extremely powerful. This person was actually an emperor-level expert. Golden Sacred Lion Race. Emperor Yinshan. After seeing this cultivator, Wu Shou, Ice Lake Snow, and the others' expressions turned ugly. Clearly, they knew this cultivator. Lin Feng didn't know this person. The main reason was that Lin Feng had just arrived at the Heavenly Sage Great World not long ago. Therefore, he didn't know much about the experts of the Heavenly Sage Great World. Moreover, there were so many races in the Heavenly Sage Great World. Even if he wanted to know about the experts of the various races, it wasn't something that could be done in a day. He needed time. However, Lin Feng was already quite familiar with the Golden Sacred Lion race. This race was one of the royal races of the myriad races, one of the core forces of the Sacred War Alliance. This race was extremely powerful. Previously, Wu Liang Daoist was discovered when he went to excavate the ancient tomb of this race's ancestor. He was almost killed by an expert of this race. At that time, Wu Liang Daoist was chased to the point where he had nowhere to go. Fortunately, Wu Liang Daoist's methods were extraordinary, or else he would have died without a burial ground. Lin Feng realized that Wu Liang Daoist's face was almost green with fear when he saw the sovereign realm expert of the Golden Sacred Lion race. Clearly, Wu Liang Daoist knew this person. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Could it be? Was this person the one who chased after Wu Liang Daoist? Perhaps it was possible. Other than the sovereign realm expert, Huang Yinshan, there were also some experts. There were also some experts in this group. There were 2 Emperor sects and 4 Emperor realm experts. The rest were basically boundary emperors. They were probably brought out by these experts to train. For the sake of your race's elders, I'll spare your lives today. Leave quickly. However, this brat and this wicked Taoist cannot leave. Huang Yinshan said with an indifferent expression. The cultivation world of the Heavenly Sage Great World was the same as the cultivation world of the 9 states. Generally, these middle-generation experts or the older generation experts were forbidden from attacking the younger generation cultivators. If they did so, the younger generation cultivators of the major forces would have to hide in their clans and not come out. Otherwise, they would definitely die. Under normal circumstances, no one would violate these rules. Occasionally, there would be people who violated these rules, but they had to do it cleanly and not leave any evidence. If they really left evidence, they would probably die without a burial ground. Huang Yinshan was very clear about this, so he didn't plan to attack these young cultivators of the Immortal Gods Alliance. However, Lin Feng and Wu Liang Daoist were different. Lin Feng and Wu Liang Daoist were both cultivators of the 9 states. Killing Lin Feng and Wu Liang Daoist, Huang Yinshan naturally had no scruples. He didn't need to worry about revenge at all. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He didn't know what the group of people of the Immortal Gods Alliance would choose. However, Lin Feng had the ruler's armor. He didn't fear Huang Yinshan at all. Moreover, Lin Feng noticed. This Huang Yinshan was very powerful. However, his realm seemed to be at the early stage of the sovereign realm. In other words, this person was powerful. However, he wasn't powerful enough to make people despair. Moreover, once Lin Feng activated the ruler's armor, coupled with Lin Feng's great destiny technique, there might be a chance to kill this person. Seeing that the people of the Immortal Gods Alliance had not left, Huang Yinshan's expression darkened slightly. Then, Chapter 36:20. Lin Feng wasn't sure about Wu Xiu, Wu Yuehan, Ice Lake Snow, Zhang Lei, Lu Haoran, and the others' attitudes. After all, they hadn't known each other for long. If they stayed, it would mean that they would fight Huang Yinshan and the others to the death. Leaving now seemed to be the best choice. If those people had left, Lin Feng wouldn't have cared either way. At most, he would pretend that he didn't know these people. To Lin Feng's relief, Wu Xiu and the others didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. Wu Xiu sneered. Do you really think we're afraid of you? Even if we join forces, we might not lose to you. Wu Yuehan said. That's right. If we really fight, it's hard to say who will win. Let's fight. None of us from the alliance of immortal gods are cowards. Moreover, you want us to abandon Brother Lin and Taoist Wuliang? Do you think that all of us from the alliance of immortal gods are the same as you? Do you think that we would do something so treacherous? Lu Haoran sneered. The group expressed their stance one after another. They wouldn't back down. They would rather fight with the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance. Even if the Sacred War Alliance had an Emperor-level expert, Huang Yinshan, they weren't afraid of fighting. As the saying goes, newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers. The cultivators of the Immortal Gods Alliance were the top figures of the younger generation. Naturally, they wouldn't leave just because of a few threats. If they really left like this, their Dao heart would be greatly damaged. When the time came, the speed of their cultivation progress would definitely be greatly reduced. Their cultivation career would be greatly affected. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Huang Yinshan glanced coldly at the cultivators of the Immortal Gods Alliance. His heart was filled with killing intent. Brother Huang Yinshan, isn't it a little inappropriate to kill these people? An Emperor-level expert said. Between his brows, he looked worried. Obviously, this cultivator was worried that if these young geniuses of the Immortal Gods Alliance were killed, once this matter was spread out, even if they were Emperor-level cultivators, they would be doomed eternally, because the other party might send someone even stronger to kill them. It was not as if such a thing had never happened in the world of cultivators. Huang Yinshan said, Brother Nalen, don't worry. After killing these people, as long as we clean up the mess, I guarantee that there won't be any evidence left. Moreover, this is the Fate Swamp, a place of death. It's different from the outside world. Those people from the Alliance of Immortals won't be able to find anything even if they want to. After hearing Huang Yinshan's words, the rest of the people nodded. Since the situation had developed to this point, this battle was unavoidable. A bunch of reckless fools. Today, I'll send all of you to hell. Huang Yinshan walked towards Lin Feng and the others step by step. A terrifying aura emanated from his body. That aura was simply too overbearing. As expected of an Emperor Realm Master, he was indeed very powerful. Attack! Huang Yinshan shouted and took the initiative to attack. He condensed a powerful divine ability and blasted it towards Lin Feng and the others. Next, as for the other two great Emperor sects, the four great Emperor Realm experts also led the cultivators they brought with them to attack. All sorts of powerful divine abilities gathered together. It transformed into a long river of divine abilities. It quickly engulfed them. Lin Feng and the others also made their move. Each of them condensed a powerful divine ability. The divine ability they condensed also turned into a dazzling long river of divine abilities. That long river of divine abilities emitted waves of violent fluctuations. That kind of fluctuation shook the void. Its power was extremely terrifying and shocking. The long river of divine abilities condensed by both sides instantly collided in midair. Bang, bang, bang. Every time they collided, an earth-shattering sound would be produced. The two long rivers of divine abilities collided. It shattered the surrounding void. After more than 10 consecutive collisions, the long river of divine abilities condensed by Lin Feng and the others gradually couldn't hold on anymore. After all, the other party had an Emperor Realm expert. The faces of the cultivators on Lin Feng's side became gloomy. An Emperor Realm expert, especially an Emperor Realm expert who walked out of the Myriad Tribe's royal family. It was indeed not easy to deal with. This point, the geniuses of the Immortal God Alliance also realized. If we really can't defeat these people, we'll break out of the encirclement, Wu Xiu said in a deep voice. Naturally, everyone was unwilling to give up the opportunity inside. But the reality was that they had to face breaking out of the encirclement. It was better than being chased out. Although they would leave this place and give the opportunity to Huang Yinshan and the others. At the very least, the latter way of leaving. It was a dignified departure. There's no need to leave. I'll deal with Huang Yinshan. At this moment, Lin Feng spoke. What? Brother Lin will deal with him? Wu Xiu exclaimed. Although Huang Yinshan's cultivation is only at the first heaven of the Emperor Realm, he's still an Emperor Realm expert. Lin Gongzi has a way to deal with an expert like Huang Yinshan? Wu Yuehan looked at Lin Feng in shock. Just now, Lin Feng didn't seem to show too much battle strength when he made his move. So now, Lin Feng said that he would take care of such a powerful person like Huang Yinshan. It was really shocking and moving. Lin Feng said, "It's just a mere Huang Yinshan. It's no big deal." As soon as Lin Feng said this, the group of people was dumbfounded, because Lin Feng's words were too arrogant. That was an Emperor realm expert. Not a big deal. Even among the royal families of the 10,000 races, an Emperor realm expert was a top expert and an existence with great power. But with Lin Feng, it was actually not worth mentioning. Huang Yinshan obviously heard Lin Feng's words as well. His eyes immediately revealed a sinister expression. He said coldly, "Brat, all these years, I've seen all kinds of people, but it's the first time I've seen someone who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth like you. Later, I won't kill you directly. Instead, I'll torture you until you're better off dead. Then, I'll extract your soul and put it into a demonic treasure that I've refined. I'll let your soul be bound by the demonic treasure forever and never reincarnate." Lin Feng said mockingly, "A mere first-level Emperor Realm expert dares to be so arrogant? If I show my strength, who do you think you are?" Arrogant. He was really too arrogant. Huang Yinshan was so angry by Lin Feng's arrogant words that his entire body trembled. He wanted nothing more than to kill Lin Feng right now. The two sides' divine powers collided 3 more times. The divine powers condensed by Lin Feng and the others were broken. The divine powers condensed by Huang Yinshan and the others continued to attack Lin Feng and the others. Huang Yinshan himself stood in the divine power's long river and walked over. Chapter 36:21. You guys resolve the long river of supernatural powers and deal with the rest. Leave this Huang Yinshan to me. Lin Feng couldn't help but let out a long howl. Then, he walked towards Huang Yinshan. Now, fighting with emperors and emperor-level cultivators couldn't arouse Lin Feng's excitement anymore. Only fighting with emperor-level experts. Only then could Lin Feng be excited. Swoosh. The Dominator's armor awakened and instantly covered Lin Feng's body completely in the armor. The current Dominator's armor. It had completely become a part of Lin Feng's body. It was closely connected to Lin Feng, just like his arm, just like any part of his body. It was intertwined with Lin Feng's fate. When the Dominator's armor covered his body, an unimaginably powerful and terrifying power instantly surged into Lin Feng's body from the Dominator's armor. Currently, Lin Feng was still unable to truly activate the Dominator's armor. This was because Lin Feng's realm had yet to increase. If he reached the higher level of the Emperor realm, at that time, he would be able to completely control the Dominator's armor. However, even if he could only obtain a portion of the Dominator's armor's power, it was already enough for Lin Feng. Because the Dominator's armor was too powerful. In addition, Lin Feng's own combat strength was also extremely terrifying. So, now that Lin Feng had activated the Dominator's armor, his combat strength had soared to a level that shocked even him. Boom! Lin Feng made his move. Surging mana wrapped around his fist. He threw a punch at Huang Yinshan. Bang! It was as if 2 planets had collided, with the location where Lin Feng and Huang Yinshan collided as the center. Dense cracks actually appeared in the void. Those cracks emitted a powerful space-time power. Lin Feng and Huang Yinshan's attacks directly shattered the void. Oh my god! Brother Lin actually blocked Huang Yinshan's attack. Brother Lin is already able to contend with Emperor-level experts? The cultivators from the Immortal God Alliance couldn't help but exclaim. An expert like Wu Xiao was already a top expert among the younger generation of the Immortal God Alliance. In the entire Immortal God Alliance, there were not many experts at his level. However, Wu Xiao's battle prowess was basically only able to contend against those in the Emperor Ancestor realm. It would be difficult for him to contend against a venerable emperor. But now, Lin Feng did it. What a strong man! Ice Lake Snow was shocked. She licked her red lips. Her beautiful eyes were overflowing with light. No one knew what he was thinking. Wu Yuehan, on the other hand, had an outstanding temperament and a tall figure. He looked at Lin Feng with a strange light in his eyes. For example, Han Jiangxue and Wu Yuehan, who came from extraordinary backgrounds and were as beautiful as fairies, in addition to their great talents and high cultivation bases. There were very few men who could enter their eyes. There were very few men who could make them look at them more than once, not to mention arousing their interest. But obviously, today, when they saw Lin Feng, they were shocked. Both Han Jiangxue and Wu Yuehan were very curious about Lin Feng. Once a woman was curious about another man. That was when she fell for him. This armor is not bad. Your combat strength was raised by this armor? If not for this armor, I could kill you with a flick of my finger, Huang Yinshan said with a cold smile. He wanted to use words to attack Lin Feng, but Lin Feng looked at Huang Yinshan mockingly. He smiled coldly and said, "Against a Zundi cultivator, if you're not strong enough, how could you defeat such a strong cultivator? Dharma treasures are only auxiliary. The most important thing is the combat strength of the cultivator. Moreover, Dharma treasures and cultivators are an inseparable part. Dharma treasures are like an extension of the cultivator's body. No cultivator can live without Dharma treasures. Otherwise, why would they refine their natal Dharma treasures? You have cultivated for millions of years. Don't you know this? Now, you actually dare to say that if I didn't have this armor, you could pinch me to death with just a flick of your finger. Using ignorant and stupid to describe you is an insult to these two adjectives." Lin Feng was very good at talking. Any cultivator who argued with Lin Feng would be defeated in the end. Huang Yinshan was obviously the same. After hearing Lin Feng's mocking words, Huang Yinshan was so angry that he almost died. He glared at Lin Feng fiercely. His eyes flashed with a murderous intent. "Kid, you won't be able to show off for long." Huang Yinshan's voice was cold. As soon as he finished speaking, Huang Yinshan began to condense his divine ability to deal with Lin Feng. Huang Yinshan condensed a blood-red world. Rumbling sounds could be heard from the blood-red world. Smoke and dust were everywhere. A dense army riding on terrifying exotic beasts was charging over at high speed. The living beings of the blood-red army were all wearing blood-red armor. They seemed to have just returned from an unknown battlefield. Terrifying blood chi and murderous intent shook the void. It was as if the entire world was going to be destroyed. Mighty frenzied blood army, please descend to the world and destroy the source of evil. Return the world to a clear and bright world. Huang Yinshan's voice was filled with bone-chilling coldness and murderous intent. As the sound of his incantation faded away, the huge blood-red army was about to rush out of the blood-red world. The aura emitted by the blood-red army was so terrifying that it made one's soul tremble. The sky prides of the immortal god alliance, who were fighting against the river of divine abilities, felt the terrifying aura emitted by the blood-red army. Their expressions changed abruptly. The blood-red army was just too terrifying. This was the battle strength of an emperor-level expert. It was really too powerful. The people of the immortal god alliance couldn't help but worry for Lin Feng. They didn't know if Lin Feng could withstand Huang Yinshan's attack. Perhaps the only person who wasn't worried about Lin Feng was Wu Liang Taoist. This was because Wu Liang Taoist knew how powerful Lin Feng was. Faced with the blood-red army's attack, Lin Feng stepped forward in the void. "I have a great wish. I wish that there would be no more wars in this world." Lin Feng began to chant the incantation for the Great Wish technique. The Great Wish technique was one of the most mysterious divine abilities among the 3,000 Great Das. Now, Lin Feng used this divine ability to fight against the blood-red army. The Great Wish technique was activated. A mysterious force surged out from the void. That force, it crashed into the blood-red world. Crack, crack. The blood-red world began to crumble. Before the blood-red army could rush out of the blood-red world, the blood-red world had already crumbled. At this moment, Lin Feng had already arrived in front of Huang Yinshan. 6 times the strength of the dragon elephant was activated. He threw a punch at Huang Yinshan. Huang Yinshan's expression changed abruptly. He hurriedly threw a punch to block Lin Feng's attack. Bang! Following a violent collision, Huang Yinshan was sent flying by Lin Feng. Crack, crack. The arm that collided with Lin Feng's attack. It broke. Chapter 36-22. Close combat. Lin Feng was simply invincible. The power of the arm of the dragon elephant was unimaginable. My arm! My arm! Huang Yinshan roared in pain. Aside from the heart-wrenching pain, Huang Yinshan's heart was filled with rage. At the same time, he felt extremely aggrieved. He was a venerable sovereign, yet he was defeated by a junior like Lin Feng. He only used one punch to break one of the arms. This was simply a great humiliation. Huang Yinshan. He could not accept what had happened. This humiliation. It made him feel like he was going crazy. Huang Yinshan has lost an arm. Oh my God. Isn't Brother Lin a human? How can his physical body be so strong? Isn't this too crazy? Yeah. This is unbelievable. I can't believe it. I've heard that Brother Lin's physical body is strong, but I didn't expect it to be this strong. When the people from the Alliance of Immortals saw Lin Feng break Huang Yinshan's arm with just one punch, they were excited and shocked. They were excited because Huang Yinshan was injured, and the scales of victory were beginning to tilt towards their side. They were shocked because Lin Feng's physical body was too terrifying. It was so strong that it was unbelievable. To fight with Lin Feng, who had a heaven-defying physical body, they could not fight. He absolutely could not engage in a physical battle. Otherwise, he would definitely be suppressed. You're too weak. Are you really a venerable sovereign cultivator with this little strength? Lin Feng could not help but mock. He was as fast as lightning and came in front of Huang Yinshan again. The arm of the dragon elephant exploded. A terrifying punch swept towards Huang Yinshan again. This time, facing Lin Feng's attack, an eye suddenly opened between Huang Yinshan's eyebrows. The Golden Saint Lion clan was very terrifying. This was because some of the cultivators in their clan would be born with a third eye. This eye, it had unimaginable power. The myths and legends mentioned how terrifying the third eye of the Golden Saint Lion clan was. Once this eye opened, it could easily destroy a great world. Of course, although Huang Yinshan also had a third eye, the power of his third eye was definitely not at such a terrifying level. But even if it didn't reach the level of destroying a great world, it was terrifying enough. The terrifying light beam instantly pierced through the void. It shot towards Lin Feng. After sensing the terrifying power contained in the beam of light that shot out from Huang Yinshan's third eye, Qin Wentian was shocked. Lin Feng's face involuntarily revealed a hair-raising expression. The power of that beam of light was simply too strong. Lin Feng didn't try to take the beam head-on. Instead, he quickly dodged. The beam of light almost brushed past Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng possessed the Eye of Origin, also known as the Heavenly Demon Snake Eye, but Lin Feng's Eye of Origin was cultivated later. They were different from the Golden Saint Lions, who were born with a third eye. The strength of the Golden Saint Lions' attack power depended on the level of their third eye's cultivation. The higher the level of their third eye's cultivation, then, the more powerful it was. Lin Feng had mastered the Eye of Origin for a long time, but Lin Feng didn't specialize in the Eye of Origin. The Eye of Origin had always been a support. Lin Feng mainly cultivated the 3000 Great Tao. Kid, to be able to force me to use the Eye of Destruction, even if you die, it's enough for you to die with glory. Huang Yinshan looked at Lin Feng with an indifferent expression. He was very confident in his third eye. He believed in the power of his third eye. Lin Feng looked at Huang Yinshan with an indifferent expression and said mockingly, "Do you really think that your Eye of Destruction is invincible? In my eyes, it's simply too weak to withstand a single blow." Lin Feng was as arrogant as ever. These words made Huang Yinshan feel great hatred in his heart. This was because Huang Yinshan really couldn't accept such contempt and humiliation from a young cultivator. It made him go crazy with hatred. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't really as unconcerned about Huang Yinshan's Eye of Destruction as he said. Huang Yinshan's Eye of Destruction was incomparably terrifying. The reason why Lin Feng said that the Eye of Destruction couldn't withstand a single blow was to deliberately provoke Huang Yinshan. Once a person was in a state of rage, they would often be unable to unleash their combat strength. Huang Yinshan was naturally the same. "Kid, I want you to wait for death in endless fear." Huang Yinshan's voice filled with killing intent suddenly resounded between heaven and earth. Beams of light shot out from his third eye one after another. Those beams of light were so terrifying that it made people turn pale with fright. Beams of light enveloped Lin Feng's body. They wanted to destroy Lin Feng's body. What a terrifying attack! This is the innate attack of the Golden Saint Lion clan. Among the Golden Saint Lion clan, there are very few cultivators who possess the third eye of destruction. This kind of eye can be continuously cultivated. Every time it rises to a higher level, its power will greatly increase. It's said that this eye itself has different grades. According to the innate talent, the awakened eye of destruction will also be different. The higher the level of the eye of destruction, the more powerful it will be. Although Huang Yinshan didn't awaken the most powerful eye of destruction, it's still terrifying enough. I wonder if Brother Lin can neutralize the attack of Huang Yinshan's eye of destruction? The cultivators of the Immortal God Alliance discussed animatedly. Now, the battle between Lin Feng and Huang Yinshan had reached a critical moment. Therefore, regardless of whether it was the cultivators of the Immortal God Alliance or the Sacred War Alliance, all of them stopped. They were no longer in the mood to continue fighting. All of their attention was attracted by the battle between Lin Feng and Huang Yinshan. After Huang Yinshan's attack was released, everyone saw Lin Feng began to chant again. That's the great path of destiny. A lowly creature actually dares to blaspheme the great path of destiny. Please bestow upon me the power of destiny. Let me punish these lowly creatures. Lin Feng walked in the void as he chanted the incantation to summon the power of destiny. Boom! Along with the violent fluctuations surging between heaven and earth, the power of destiny descended. The power of destiny was too terrifying. It directly shattered the terrifying light beam from Huang Yinshan's eye of destruction. Then, a beam of power of destiny arrived in front of Huang Yinshan. It swept across Huang Yinshan's eye of destruction. Huang Yinshan's eye of destruction was instantly pierced through. My eye! Huang Yinshan let out an incomparably shrill cry. His eye of destruction was completely destroyed. The power of destiny, it was impossible to resist. Huang Yinshan's eye of destruction could no longer be recovered. Your life. I'll take it. At this moment, Lin Feng quickly rushed toward Huang Yinshan. He performed the supremacy of the 9 heavens and 10 earths technique. Then, he directly attacked Huang Yinshan. Huang Yinshan performed the 4 Dragon Seal divine ability to resist Lin Feng's terrifying attack. However, his divine ability was instantly destroyed. Bang! Huang Yinshan was killed by Lin Feng's supremacy of the 9 heavens and 10 earths technique. Huang Yinshan's physical body directly exploded. An emperor-level expert. Chapter 36-23. Dead. Huang Yinshan was killed by Brother Lin. Oh my god, isn't Brother Lin too terrifying? The top geniuses of the Immortal God Alliance could not help but reveal a shocked expression. They could not believe what they had just seen. It was simply too shocking. Huang Yinshan was an Emperor Realm expert, but he was killed by Lin Feng just like that. It was truly inconceivable. However, all of this was happening right in front of their eyes. They had no choice but to believe it. The two beauties, Ice Lake Snow and Wu Yuehan, looked at Lin Feng in amazement. Now, they had a deeper understanding of Lin Feng. Even so, in their opinion, Lin Feng was still shrouded in a mysterious veil. They could not help but want to unveil Lin Feng's mysterious veil. Then, they could understand everything about Lin Feng. Huang Yinshan was killed. That kid is too terrifying. We can't stay here any longer. Let's go. An Emperor Grand Level expert shouted in a deep voice. Huang Yinshan's death had almost scared them out of their wits. No one dared to stay any longer. If they did, they were worried that they would follow in Huang Yinshan's footsteps. No one wanted to die. Naturally, these people did not want to die. The group of people quickly rushed outside, wanting to escape. At this moment, Lin Feng had already collected Huang Yinshan's origin energy and storage ring. He blocked the path of a group of people. Then, he shouted, "What are you waiting for? Let's kill these people together." Everyone regained their senses and charged towards the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance. Do you really want to kill all of us? How about we both take a step back? We will never tell anyone about what happened today. An Emperor Realm expert said in a deep voice, his expression extremely ugly. All cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance should be killed, Lin Feng said indifferently. He had no intention of letting the cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance go. Once they were let go, it was easy to imagine the thunderous revenge that would follow. At this time, a group of cultivators from the Immortal Gods Alliance and Immeasurable Taoist had arrived. Together with Lin Feng, they besieged the cultivators from the Sacred War Alliance. Let's fight them to the death. The cultivators of the Sacred War Alliance all revealed ferocious expressions, their eyes flashing with dense killing intent. These people also began to fight with all their might. However, in the end, these people did not escape the fate of death. 2 Emperor sects, for Emperor Realm experts, and the cultivators they brought out for training, totaled up to more than 30 people. Besieged by Lin Feng, Taoist Wu Liang, and the cultivators from the Immortal Gods Alliance, all of them perished. Shua. Light flashed. The ruler's armor retracted into his body, after everyone cleaned up the battlefield. Then, he entered the patrolling Immortal Mansion. After entering the patrolling Immortal Mansion, there was a very long passageway. A chilling and terrifying aura emanated from the tunnel. That gloomy and terrifying aura made the group of people involuntarily feel a chill in their hearts. Be careful, Lin Feng reminded. Everyone nodded. At this moment, Lin Feng realized that Han Jiangshui and Wu Yuehan both came to his side, leaning closer to him. Moreover, the two of them would occasionally look at Lin Feng. Lin Feng had already noticed their strange actions, but Lin Feng did not take it to heart. Soon, the group of people entered a cave. This cave was extremely huge. In the middle of the cave, there was actually a golden wall. This golden wall was about 10 meters long, 6 to 7 meters tall, and 1 meter wide. Such a strange wall appeared in the patrolling Immortal Mansion. Everyone couldn't help but reveal a puzzled expression. What was the origin of this wall? Could it have been left behind by the patrolling Immortal? Let's see if there are any treasures first, Wu Xiu said. Everyone spread out to look for treasures, but to no avail. Many people's expressions instantly turned ugly. They had spent so much effort to find the patrolling Immortal Mansion, but there was nothing here. Anyone who encountered such a situation would feel depressed. Taoist Wu Liang looked at the golden wall. Lin Feng also found nothing after searching for a while. He saw Taoist Wu Liang looking at the golden wall, so he walked up to him. Then, he asked, "Did you find anything?" Taoist Wu Liang said, "I feel that this wall is a little strange." Strange wall? What's strange about it? A genius from the Alliance of Immortals asked after hearing Taoist Wu Liang's words. The others also walked over and looked at Taoist Wu Liang. Now, no one had discovered anything in the patrolling Immortal Mansion. All their hopes were pinned on this strange-looking wall. Taoist Wu Liang said, "This feeling is very special. I can't pinpoint exactly what's strange about this wall. Perhaps we can break it open and find something?" Everyone smiled bitterly after hearing Taoist Wu Liang's words. However, they could still consider Taoist Wu Liang's suggestion. "All right, let's break it open and see if there's really something inside." Everyone agreed to Taoist Wu Liang's suggestion. Taoist Wu Liang said, "Let me break open this wall." After this guy finished speaking, a light flashed in his hand, and a huge hammer appeared in Taoist Wu Liang's hand. Taoist Wu Liang grabbed the hammer. Then, he directly picked up the hammer Luin. He smashed it toward the golden wall, just as Taoist Wu Liang's hammer was about to hit the golden wall. But at this time, something happened that left everyone dumbfounded. The golden wall began to bend at an unimaginable angle. Then, the golden wall suddenly became taut. Bang! The golden wall swept toward Taoist Wu Liang. Clang! A loud sound rang out. Taoist Wu Liang and his hammer were both sent flying. They were both sent flying by the golden wall. Damn! This wall has become a spirit. Taoist Wu Liang cried out in alarm while he was still in midair. This damn Taoist Wu Liang. His methods were astonishing. That was why he wasn't injured even after being sent flying by the golden wall. Lin Feng and the others regained their senses and looked at the golden wall in disbelief. What's going on with this golden wall? Just now, it actually bent in such a big arc, and even bounced a measurable Taoist away. Isn't this too inconceivable? Lin Feng and the others quickly surrounded the golden wall to prevent it from escaping. Chapter 36:24. Disturbing my dreams. You're asking me what I am? I think you're looking for a beating. The golden wall actually took the initiative to speak, and this guy was quite arrogant. Taoist Wu Liang was furious. He was actually looked down upon by a wall. How could Taoist Wu Liang endure this anger? He sneered and said, "Heavenly Lord Wu Liang, your whole family. If this Taoist master doesn't show his might, do you really think I'm a sick cat?" Taoist Wu Liang leaped up. He instantly arrived in front of the golden wall. He swung his hammer again. He smashed it toward the golden wall. At this moment, the golden wall bent again. It was exactly the same as the previous time. The golden wall that had been bent slightly swept across. All of a sudden, a powerful force burst out. The golden wall collided with the hammer in Taoist Wu Liang's hand once again. Taoist Wu Liang was swept away by the golden wall as expected. This time, the web between Taoist Wu Liang's thumb and index finger was shattered, and blood immediately flowed out. Everyone was shocked. This golden wall was really too strange, and its strength was also incomparably terrifying. Everyone couldn't help but feel incomparably surprised. Now, many people felt that the opportunity in the patrolling immortal mansion might be this golden wall. Even if it wasn't this golden wall, the opportunity in the patrolling immortal mansion definitely had something to do with this golden wall. At this moment, the demon lord's voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. This is the Wall of Wishes. Rumor has it, a treasure that spread out from the Supreme Divine Court is said to be able to fulfill any wish of a cultivator. After hearing the demon lord's words, Lin Feng was shocked. The Wall of Wishes? There was actually such a thing. There were really a lot of treasures in the Supreme Celestial Court. Any random treasure possessed a heaven-defying ability. For example, this Wall of Wishes was like this. If this Wall of Wishes was really as the Demon Lord said, it could fulfill any wish of a cultivator. This kind of thing was enough to cause a bloody storm. Lin Feng asked through voice transmission, "Is the legend true? Can the Wall of Wishes really help a cultivator achieve all their wishes?" The Demon Lord said, "In my opinion, this kind of rumor is not true, and it's hard for people to believe that this kind of rumor is true. However, the Wall of Wishes should be able to help cultivators realize some wishes, but these wishes should have restrictions and not some unrealistic wishes." The Demon Lord said that there were many unrealistic wishes. For example, if you wished for eternal life, the Wall of Wishes would definitely not be able to fulfill your wish. If your condition is to cultivate some powerful divine ability, you might be able to fulfill this wish. I don't believe that I can't smash this broken wall of yours today. Taoist Wu Liang shouted fiercely. This guy was rarely injured, but now he was actually injured. This angered the immeasurable Taoist. Lin Feng hurriedly stopped Taoist Wu Liang, telling him not to be impulsive. Only then did Taoist Wu Liang stop. Lin Feng then looked at the golden wall. "If I'm not mistaken, you should be the Wall of Wishes, right?" Wall of Wishes? What is this? The people from the Immortal God Alliance were puzzled. Only Taoist Wu Liang's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard the words, Wall of Wishes. It was unknown if this guy had heard of some rumors about the Wall of Wishes. That's right. This lord is indeed the Wall of Wishes. I didn't expect that someone would actually recognize this lord. The Wall of Wishes said. Next, golden energy spread out from the Wall of Wishes, enveloping Lin Feng and the others. They didn't feel any hostility from the Wall of Wishes. Therefore, when a large amount of golden energy surged out from the Wall of Wishes, not a single person struggled. They were all enveloped by the golden energy. When they were completely submerged by the golden energy, Lin Feng suddenly realized. Everyone around him disappeared. The next moment, they arrived in a golden world. In that golden world, apart from Lin Feng, there was nothing else. Only the Wall of Wishes remained. The Wall of Wishes was right in front of Lin Feng. It was floating in midair. Where are they? Lin Feng asked. The Wall of Wishes said, just like you, they have been separated by me to a different place. I will now give you a chance. Make a wish in your heart, and I will help you fulfill it. The Wall of Wishes said, Only one chance? Lin Feng asked. The Wall of Wishes said, of course. Could it be that you want to have a few more chances? Lin Feng laughed awkwardly, then asked, can any wish be fulfilled? Of course. The Wall of Wishes replied. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He felt that the Wall of Wishes' words couldn't be trusted. His answer, it could stimulate a person's greed. Therefore, when he heard the Wall of Wishes' answer, many people might make wishes that seemed impossible to fulfill. The Wall of Wishes continued, what are you waiting for? Tell me your wish. No matter what it is, this Lord will help you fulfill it. The Wall of Wishes' voice had a hint of gentle temptation. Lin Feng said, I want some divine abilities. Oh, you want some divine abilities? Are you an idiot? After seeing the Wall of Wishes, you actually only want some divine abilities? Is this how you waste such a heaven-defying opportunity? The Wall of Wishes said with a hint of exasperation in its tone. It continued, you can make some wishes that are more difficult to fulfill, such as making you become an emperor faster. Of course, a more difficult wish is also not a problem. Lin Feng shook his head, then said, I can rely on myself to become an emperor. There's no need to make a wish. Moreover, I believe that I will definitely become an emperor. Kid, it's not good to be too conceited. Who dares to say that they will definitely become an emperor? This Lord has seen too many people who were full of confidence before breaking through, only to fail in the end. The Wall of Wishes said, I'm different from them. I want to cultivate some divine abilities. You can impart those divine abilities to me. Lin Feng said, what divine abilities? The Wall of Wishes asked. 3,000 Great Tao. Lin Feng said, it's just 3,000 Great Tao. I can teach you all 9 of Pangu's ultimate arts. How about it? The Wall of Wishes continued. It began to tempt Lin Feng again. Pangu's 9 ultimate arts? Lin Feng was a little tempted, but he kept feeling that something was not right, because Lin Feng felt that the Wall of Wishes had been guiding him to make other wishes. So, among them, was there a trap? This was really hard to say. This guy could not be trusted. Lin Feng warned himself in his heart. Then, Lin Feng continued, I don't need Pangu's divine abilities. I need 3,000 Great Tao. Chapter 36-25. Lin Feng actually heard a trace of anger in the voice of the Wall of Wishes. It was as if it was angry out of humiliation. The Wall of Wishes seemed to be extremely angry at Lin Feng for rejecting its proposal. There must be a reason for this abnormality. Why couldn't he stick to his own opinion and hope to obtain the 3,000 Great Taos? Why did this guy have to force him to listen to its suggestion? Lin Feng was puzzled. At this time, the Wall of Wishes continued, I'll give you one last chance. Listen to me, or you'll get nothing. Facing such a blatant threat from the Wall of Wishes, Lin Feng smiled faintly. He said, you probably don't have a way to drive me out. You're just bluffing. If you had a way to drive me out, why would you waste so much time talking? Just drive me out. You. The Wall of Wishes' voice changed slightly. It didn't expect that such a young cultivator like Lin Feng would be so meticulous. The Wall of Wishes couldn't help but be shocked. Lin Feng smiled and continued, I'm guessing that you should have to abide by some kind of agreement, and this agreement has bound you. You have no choice but to fulfill some of my wishes. And these wishes of mine are also very particular, because I can only make a wish once. If you can't fulfill this wish of mine, then you have the right to refuse to let me make another wish. There's one more point. The wishes I make are from my heart. I'm the one who makes them. I don't listen to your temptation and make a wish that you want me to make. So, if I listen to your temptation and make a wish that you want me to make, when the time comes, the result will still be the same as the first situation. You have the right to refuse my second wish. Therefore, what I need to do now is to stick to my heart. I need the 3,000 Great Taos. I wonder if you can fulfill this wish of mine now? After hearing Lin Feng's analysis, the Wall of Wishes suddenly became silent. After a long while, that's right, it's just as you said. If you make a wish that I can't fulfill for you, or if you listen to my advice, you'll be driven out by me. Only by sticking to your heart can you get something from me. Of course, I can give you the 3,000 great ways, but you'll have to comprehend them yourself. You can stay here for 3 days. In these 3 days, you'll get as many of the 3,000 great ways as you can comprehend. After the voice of the Wall of Wishes faded away, the world around Lin Feng suddenly changed. The Wall of Wishes vanished without a trace. The world around him had turned into a desolate world. In this world, huge stars floated in the sky. Those huge stars were formed by the stars of the Abhijna star technique. Every divine power star was one of the 3,000 great das. 3 days was simply too short. But since this was the rule, Lin Feng had to abide by this rule. Now, Lin Feng had already cultivated 2,510 types of the 3,000 great ways. There were still 490 types of the 3,000 great ways. Lin Feng would be able to gather all 3,000 great ways. It was too difficult to gather all 3,000 types of the 3,000 great ways. But now, Lin Feng saw hope. Lin Feng walked forward between the stars. Each of the 3,000 great ways vibrated with powerful fluctuations. If he had cultivated the 3,000 great ways, Lin Feng would be able to sense it. The divine ability stars formed by the 3,000 great ways and the divine ability formation formed by the 3,000 great ways in Lin Feng's dantian reflected each other. It was really amazing. Lin Feng arrived in front of a godly skill star. This divine ability star didn't have any connection with the divine ability formation formed by the 3,000 great ways in Lin Feng's dantian. So, Lin Feng hadn't cultivated the 3,000 great ways recorded in this divine ability star. Lin Feng hadn't cultivated them. If it was anyone else, it would definitely be extremely difficult to comprehend these 3,000 great ways. But for Lin Feng, it wasn't difficult to comprehend these 3,000 great ways. Firstly, it was because Lin Feng had mastered the true incantation of Lin, which could help him comprehend the Tao. Secondly, it was because Lin Feng had already cultivated 2,510 types of the 3,000 great ways. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Anything. He did it over and over again. Once he did it enough. When the time came, it would be easy. It was the same for comprehending the great ways. There was an extremely close connection between the various great ways. Through the true incantation of Lin, coupled with his own experience, comprehension, and so on. Comprehending these 3,000 great ways was a simple matter for Lin Feng. Time passed quickly. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng comprehended the 3,000 great ways with all his might. He didn't waste any time. He comprehended a total of 90 types of the 3,000 great ways. On average, he comprehended 30 types of the 3,000 great ways a day. Swoosh! There was a flash of light. Lin Feng felt as if the sky and earth were spinning. Then, he returned to the cave abode. Other than Lin Feng, the others were also in the cave abode. It seemed that the dozen or so cultivators from the Immortal God Alliance had good temperaments. They resisted the temptation of the wall of greed and wishes in their hearts. That was why they could stay until now. If they didn't resist the temptation of the wall of greed and wishes in their hearts, they would have been expelled by the wall of wishes long ago. You've gotten what you want. You can leave now. The wall of wishes said. Lin Feng and the others looked as if they hadn't had enough. Especially Lin Feng. There were still 400 types of the 3,000 great ways to collect all the 3,000 great ways. If he was given a little more time, he would definitely be able to comprehend the remaining 400 types of the 3,000 great ways. But unfortunately, the wall of wishes, it didn't give Lin Feng any more time. Divine light surged out and enveloped Lin Feng and the others. There was a flash of light. Lin Feng and the others were sent out. The patrolling immortal abode has disappeared. Zhang Lei pointed at the place where the patrolling immortal abode was originally located and said. Everyone looked over and found that the patrolling immortal abode had really disappeared. Could it be that the patrolling immortal abode isn't in the same place? Taoist Wuliang couldn't help but mutter. Lin Feng and the others nodded. They thought so too. It was indeed possible. The group's harvest was obviously quite good. Everyone rushed out together, intending to leave this abyss. But at this moment, Lin Feng suddenly felt that something was wrong. The surroundings were too quiet. There seemed to be hidden killing intent. The situation doesn't seem right. Everyone, be careful, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the group of people who were still excited suddenly had a slight change in expression. And at this moment, soil in many places at the bottom of the abyss rolled out. Then, the soil piled up into mounds. One terrifying creature after another crawled out from the mounds of earth. Chapter 36-26. Those creatures were very ugly. Their bodies were covered with black scales. Their bodies were like spiders, but they had scorpion-like tails. Their heads were like the heads of lizards. However, it was longer than a lizard's head, and their teeth were extremely sharp. Each monster was more than 10 meters tall. Some of the bigger monsters were even more than 20 meters tall. Lin Feng had never seen such creatures before. Even in the mountain and sea scripture, there were no records of such creatures. After all, there were too many kinds of creatures in the world. There were so many that it was unimaginable. There were so many creatures. The mountain and sea scripture naturally couldn't record every kind of creature. This was unrealistic. Over 100 of these strange creatures emerged from the ground. Then, they surrounded Lin Feng and the others. These creatures emitted a sinister and terrifying aura. After feeling the aura emitted by these creatures, Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but tremble slightly. What the hell is this? A genius said with a solemn expression. That genius. He felt the aura of death from those strange creatures. This feeling was extremely terrible. It made him upset and angry. I don't know what it is, but everyone must be careful. These monsters are absolutely terrifying, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. Everyone nodded, although those strange creatures hadn't attacked them yet. However, Lin Feng and the others felt uneasy. They didn't dare to act rashly. Now, they could only hope that these terrifying creatures wouldn't attack them. But obviously, this hope was quickly dashed. Screech. The largest monster let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry. The monster's cry seemed to be giving an order. When the monster's cry fell, suddenly, one by one, the terrifying monsters all pounced toward Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng took out the black dragon sword. At the same time, he took out the ruler's armor. Lin Feng had a strong premonition. These monsters might be much more terrifying than he imagined. So, he had to go all out. He couldn't afford to be careless. Lin Feng had always trusted his intuition. It was the same this time. Die! Lin Feng shouted with the black dragon sword in his hand. Next, he swung his sword at the first monster that pounced at him. The monster's 8 claws were like 8 sharp spears. The first 2 claws were like sharp spears as they pierced towards Lin Feng. Clang! Clang! With 2 clanging sounds, Lin Feng's black dragon sword collided with the monster's spear-like claws. What surprised Lin Feng was that the black dragon sword, with its tyrannical power, was actually unable to cut off the monster's claws. This monster's claws were a little too hard. Just as the black dragon sword collided with the monster's 2 sharp claws, the monster's tail had already arrived behind Lin Feng without making a sound. At the end of the tail was a thick, poisonous stinger. The poisonous stinger flickered with a blue luster. It was obvious that it contained highly toxic poison. The poisonous stinger at the end of the tail quickly stabbed towards Lin Feng. Clang! When the poisonous stinger stabbed towards him, it immediately stabbed on the Dominator's armor. A sound of metal clashing could be heard. The poisonous stinger. But it didn't break the defense of the Dominator's armor. Lin Feng grabbed the poisonous stinger and then used his left hand to throw the monster away. Bang, bang, bang. The monster that was thrown away by Lin Feng then knocked away the other monsters that were pouncing towards Lin Feng. However, not everyone was like Lin Feng, who was able to resolve the attacks of those terrifying monsters. There were 3 geniuses from the Immortal God Alliance who were unable to resolve the attacks of those monsters. Perhaps it was because they underestimated the enemy, or because those monsters were too powerful. No matter what the reason was, when they were unable to resolve the attacks of those monsters, their fate was already sealed. Puff, puff, puff. Along with the sound of 3 bodies being pierced, there was the sound of 3 bodies being pierced. The chests of the 3 geniuses were pierced by a poisonous stinger. The three geniuses from the Immortal God Alliance lowered their heads and looked at the poisonous stinger that pierced through their chests. Then, they screamed in agony. Their screams were so mournful and filled with unwillingness. However, there was nothing they could do to change the situation. These monsters are too powerful. They can't be killed at all. Hurry up and break out, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. Just now, he used the black dragon sword to clash with the monster's sharp claws, but he couldn't destroy the monster's sharp claws. From this, one could see how terrifying these monsters were. And there were too many of them. If they stayed and continued to fight with these monsters, they would definitely not have a good ending. Now, only 3 of them had died. If this dragged on, who knew how many of them would die? Charge out. The group of people gritted their teeth. There were 9 people left in the group. Everyone attacked with all their might. No one held back. Slash. Lin Feng walked at the front. He held the black dragon sword with both hands and directly swung out an unparalleled sword. In an instant, 100-meter-long sword light condensed and directly swept towards the 30-odd monsters in front. The rest were responsible for dealing with the monsters on the left, right, and behind. Clang, clang, clang. A series of collision sounds were heard. The monsters in front were all sent flying by Lin Feng's black dragon sword. Wu Liang Daoist, Wu Xiu, Ice Lake Snow, and the others blocked the attacks of the other monsters. Hurry up! After tearing an opening, Lin Feng shouted in a deep voice. He took the lead and charged forward. Because after they entered the bottom of the abyss, they walked a long distance into the abyss. There was only one entrance to the abyss, which was the place protected by those terrifying vines. Lin Feng and the rest wanted to leave the abyss, so they had to return to that place. Then, they left the place protected by the vines. The rest followed closely behind Lin Feng and quickly rushed out. Screech. The terrifying monsters let out sharp screeches and quickly chased after Lin Feng and the rest. Those monsters were extremely fast, but fortunately, Lin Feng and the rest were fast enough. They gradually pulled away from those monsters. However, just as everyone heaved a sigh of relief, a voice suddenly rang out. Something terrifying happened. Thick scorpion tails suddenly came out from the ground. A total of 9 scorpion tails came out. These 9 scorpion tails locked onto Lin Feng and the rest. At the end of these 9 scorpion tails was also a poisonous spike. 9 poisonous spikes. They came separately to attack. The 9 poisonous spikes were simply too fast. They instantly arrived in front of Lin Feng and the rest. Clang! That spike stabbed onto Lin Feng's body. Just like before, it was blocked by the ruler's armor. Wu Liang Daoist and the rest also took action to neutralize the attack of the poisonous spikes. However, there were 2 prodigies who were not so lucky. Pooh! Pooh! The sound of flesh being pierced. It rang out. Blood splattered everywhere and screams of agony rang out. The 2 cultivators who had their hearts pierced by the poisonous spikes died tragically. The next moment. Chapter 36-27. When Lin Feng and the others saw that gigantic monster, they couldn't help but shiver in fear. The monster that appeared in front of them was probably a king-level monster. It was extremely powerful. Now, there were only 7 people left on Lin Feng's side. They were Lin Feng himself, Taoist Wu Liang, Wu Xiu, Wu Yuehan, Zhang Lei, Lu Haoran, and Ice Lake Snow. The 7 of them were targeted by the terrifying monster. The poisonous stingers came at Lin Feng and the rest again. Everyone's face turned solemn. Everyone used their strongest skills to fight against the gigantic monster. Lin Feng held the black dragon sword and slashed at the poisonous stingers. Clang! It was as if he slashed at a peerless weapon. He couldn't kill the monster at all. The rest of them were in the same situation. Just as everyone was defending against the poisonous stingers, the monster suddenly spat out a gigantic spider web. The gigantic spider web seemed to cover the sky and cover the sun. It was like an inescapable net moving towards Lin Feng and the others. It was almost unavoidable. Many people's faces changed drastically. Heavenly fire. Go. At the critical moment, Lin Feng took out the black flame god swallowing fire. The heavenly fire enveloped the spider web. In an instant, The spider webs that had been flying towards Lin Feng started burning. Lin Feng and the others retreated at full speed, creating some distance between them and that terrifying monster. The 7 of them quickly rushed out. But at this moment, the terrifying monster started chanting. After it finished chanting, the formation in the void intertwined and sealed the area. Oh no, we're trapped by the formation. What a powerful formation. It should be a formation that already existed here. When he saw the intertwined formation, Lin Feng's face changed drastically. The formation was very complicated. It wasn't easy to break the formation in a short period of time. If they were trapped here, the consequences might be disastrous. Help me block it for a while. I have a treasure here that might help us escape. Wu Yuehan said. Are we going to use that thing? Wu Xiu took a deep breath. Wu Yuehan nodded. She then took out a golden stone door and began to chant an incantation. The eyes of Lin Feng and the others lit up slightly. The 6 of them used all kinds of methods to fight against the terrifying existence. The immeasurable Taoist had all sorts of talismans and magic talismans. It was as if it had blotted out the sky and the earth. It directly exploded in the void, causing a destructive fluctuation. In addition, Lin Feng and the others attacked with all kinds of supreme treasures. Although the terrifying monster was incomparably powerful, it would be difficult for it to get close to Lin Feng and the others in a short period of time. And at this moment, Wu Yuehan finally activated the mysterious golden stone door. She saw that the mysterious golden stone door was rapidly expanding. Soon, it turned into a 10-meter-tall golden stone door. The golden stone door opened. Dazzling light surged out from behind the golden stone door. Get in quickly, Wu Yuehan shouted anxiously. She also seemed to be unable to activate the golden stone door for a long time. Let's go. No one dared to hesitate and rushed toward the golden stone door. Wu Yuehan only entered the golden stone door after everyone had entered. After entering the golden stone door, there was a golden passage. This golden passage seemed to be connected to the outside world. This golden stone door was really mysterious. No one knew what kind of treasure it was. Lin Feng and the others rushed forward quickly. But before the golden stone door closed, a huge scorpion tail flew in. The scorpion tail was as fast as lightning. It was a sharp, poisonous sting. It directly stabbed toward Wu Yuehan, who was at the back. Wu Yuehan's expression changed greatly. She wanted to avoid the poisonous sting, but she failed. Puff. The poisonous sting pierced Wu Yuehan's thigh. Wu Yuehan suddenly let out a muffled groan. Her body fell down uncontrollably. The scorpion tail wrapped around Wu Yuehan. It wanted to quickly drag Wu Yuehan into the abyss. Sister. Wu Xiu's expression changed greatly. He wanted to go and save Wu Yuehan. Although Wu Xiu's cultivation was not weak, it was impossible for him to save Wu Yuehan. It was an act of suicide. Hold brother Wu. You guys go first. I'll go and save Wu Yuehan, Lin Feng said. He quickly turned back. He rushed in front of the huge scorpion tail. Lin Feng mobilized the power of the ruler's armor. At the same time, he used the weapon mantra, raising the power of the black dragon sword to the extreme. Then, Lin Feng's sword moved towards the scorpion's tail. This was the strongest sword Lin Feng could unleash at the moment. Puff. When this sword slashed the scorpion tail was immediately cut off by Lin Feng. A large amount of poisonous blood spurted out. Lin Feng held the unconscious Wu Yuehan. Dodging the spurting poisonous blood, he quickly rushed outside. Wu Yuehan's beautiful face turned blue. Obviously, the poison was very deep. Lin Feng quickly used the 8 spirit forbidding seals to seal Wu Yuehan's 8 extraordinary meridians and the blood flowing in her body. Usually, poison followed the blood flow through the 8 extraordinary meridians to various parts of the cultivator's body. Sealing Wu Yuehan's 8 extraordinary meridians and her own blood could temporarily suppress Wu Yuehan's injury. At this moment, Taoist Wuliang and the others had already rushed out. They did not know where the golden passage led to. Lin Feng held Wu Yuehan and stepped on the 8 directions world, pushing his speed to the extreme. It seemed that they were not far away from rushing out. But at this moment, a loud rumbling sound was heard. Huge spider claws penetrated the golden passage. Obviously, the The terrifying monster went completely crazy after Lin Feng cut off its tail. After the golden passage was penetrated, it became extremely unstable and many places began to collapse. A space-time storm swept over. Not good. The way out is destroyed. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. The next moment, the space-time storm swept over and instantly drowned Lin Feng and Wu Yuehan. The golden passage exploded. The spider claws that pierced through the golden passage all exploded. Between heaven and earth, calmness was restored. Shua. There was a flash of light. Lin Feng and Wu Yuehan fell from midair. This was a mountain range. It was night. Lin Feng was sure. They were still in the Swamp of Destiny, because this place was still the unique aura of the Swamp of Destiny. Shua, shua, deep in the mountain range, a pair of cold eyes opened. Chapter 36:28. Wu Yuehan was still unconscious, and her body was burning hot. Obviously, the situation was not ideal. Now, such a terrifying existence had appeared beside her. Misfortune never came alone. Lin Feng sent Wu Yuehan into the mountain and river ring. At the same time, he ordered the white jade toad to help Wu Yuehan detoxify the poison in her body. With the help of the white jade toad, Lin Feng was not sure if the poison in Wu Yuehan's body could be completely removed. But at least he could be sure of one thing. Wu Yuehan's life was not in danger for the time being. Cultivators of the human race. The terrifying existence's voice seemed to have softened a little. Lin Feng was a little surprised. At first, his gaze was incomparably cold. After discovering that Lin Feng was a human cultivator, the bone-piercing chill lessened a lot. Lin Feng guessed in his heart, could that terrifying creature be a human? Or did it have some relationship with the human race? If that was the case, the situation would be better. Because if it was a creature hostile to the human race, or some savage and bloodthirsty creature, it would be a great threat to Lin Feng. After all, this was the Swamp of Destiny, where danger lurked everywhere. Here, there was a possibility of dying at any time. 9 Prefectures human cultivator, Lin Feng, greets Senior. Lin Feng hurriedly introduced himself. 9 Prefectures, the mysterious existence muttered to himself. When he said the words 9 Prefectures, his voice trembled slightly. He stabilized his emotions and said, "How is the 9 Prefectures now?" A few years ago, the myriad races joined forces with some extraterrestrial forces to invade the 9 Prefectures. Fortunately, the crisis of the 9 Prefectures has been resolved, Lin Feng said. Lin Feng did not explain the process in detail. However, a huge force like the myriad races had joined forces with extraterrestrial forces to invade the 9 Prefectures. One could imagine what kind of tragic war the 9 Prefectures had experienced. Back then, it must have been the scene of the country being destroyed, right? The mysterious existence asked. Yes, countless forces were reduced to ashes. More than half of the mountains and rivers fell. Ancient immortal sects, aristocratic families, and sects were destroyed one after another. Fortunately, in the end, justice prevailed over evil, Lin Feng said. The mysterious existence asked, "How's the reincarnation immortal sect?" Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. Reincarnation immortal sect. This mysterious being was asking about the reincarnation immortal sect. This really surprised Lin Feng. Who was he? Why did he ask about the reincarnation immortal sect? The reincarnation immortal sect is fine, but Lord Tortoise suffered a calamity and was taken away by an unknown and terrifying existence, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. What? The mysterious existence's voice suddenly changed. His emotions couldn't help but fluctuate violently. Lin Feng asked, "Senior, are you related to the reincarnation immortal sect?" "In the past, I was in charge of the reincarnation immortal sect," the mysterious existence said. "Take control of the reincarnation immortal sect?" Lin Feng's eyes suddenly widened. The sovereign leaderboard from over 3,000 years ago. The sect leader of the reincarnation immortal sect and the Red World Fairy had exchanged thousands of blows. He had defeated the Red World Fairy with a single move. The sect leader had left the reincarnation immortal sect more than 1,000 years ago. When Lin Feng joined the reincarnation immortal sect, he had never seen the sect leader. However, since the sect leader had lost to the Red World Fairy with a single move, it was clear how powerful the sect leader of the reincarnation immortal sect was. Lin Feng had heard Lord Tortoise mention the sect leader before. Lord Tortoise had said that the sect leader was the most talented person since the establishment of the reincarnation immortal sect. Even with Lord Tortoise's powerful cultivation base, he still held the sect leader in high regard. From this, one could see how terrifying the sect leader of the reincarnation immortal sect was. However, the reincarnation immortal sect had not received any news about the sect leader for many years. Ever since the sect leader had entered the extraterrestrial starry sky. At first, there was still some news that was sent back to the sect. Later, there was no news at all. Now, Lin Feng suspected that the sect leader of the reincarnation immortal sect was the sect leader. Very few people knew the name of the sect leader. In the entire reincarnation immortal sect, only a few people knew about it. However, Lin Feng had heard Lord Tortoise mention his name before. He seemed to be called Feng Wanxian. When Lin Feng heard the name, he was actually a little hesitant. The name Xian was a taboo in many cases. It could not be used casually, especially when there was a wand in his name. Using the two words Wanxian, this was a huge taboo. However, since the sect leader dared to use this name, he must be extraordinary. That's right. I'm the sect leader of the reincarnation immortal sect, Feng Wanxian. Which sect are you from? Feng Wanxian asked. Disciple of Lord Tortoise of the reincarnation immortal sect. Lin Feng said. Feng Wanxian was shocked. He did not expect Lin Feng to be a disciple of the reincarnation immortal sect. The reincarnation immortal sect has a genius like you. Heaven is blessing the reincarnation immortal sect. Feng Wanxian exclaimed excitedly. Senior, why are you in the swamp of destiny? Are you in trouble right now? Lin Feng asked. At this moment, Feng Wanxian walked out from the depths of the swamp. His huge body was illusory. It was not a body of flesh and blood. After seeing Feng Wanxian's body, Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. My body is suppressed under the mountain range. This is a spiritual body that I condensed with my dermic powers and soul. Darkness erosion. I have to protect my physical body with my soul. Otherwise, once my physical body is destroyed, I'll be doomed eternally. However, in recent years, I've been getting weaker and weaker. Feng Wanxian sighed. At this moment, a terrifying aura filled the air. In the distance, endless darkness was devouring heaven and earth. Darkness erosion. Once again, it engulfed the entire swamp of destiny. Lin Feng knew how terrifying darkness erosion was. When he saw it, his expression changed drastically. Hide behind him, Feng Wanxian said in a deep voice. Lin Feng quickly ran behind Feng Wanxian. Endless darkness shrouded them. Between heaven and earth, there was an eerie and terrifying aura of death. That aura of death made Lin Feng feel extremely oppressed. He had a strange feeling. The darkness erosion here was different from the darkness erosion he had seen before. The darkness erosion that appeared here, it seemed to be more powerful. It was even more terrifying. Kingdom of 10,000 immortals. 10,000 immortals appear. When the darkness eroded the entire world, when the darkness was about to devour Feng Wanxian and Lin Feng, Feng Wanxian stepped forward. His voice, it was sonorous and forceful. It was full of energy. A loud shout resounded between heaven and earth like the sound of Tao. Then, a mysterious kingdom appeared behind Feng Wanxian. That kingdom, it was surrounded by endless immortal light. Chapter 36-29. The kingdom of 10,000 immortals was one of the greatest forces in this era. How prosperous was the kingdom of 10,000 immortals in the past? It was so powerful that it was hard to believe. However, in the end, the kingdom of 10,000 immortals was destroyed. For countless people, the kingdom of 10,000 immortals was a myth, full of countless secrets. However, the kingdom of 10,000 immortals was destined to be ethereal and difficult to approach. Countless people wanted to explore the secrets of the kingdom of 10,000 immortals. But in the end, they couldn't find anything. A place like the kingdom of 10,000 immortals. It was destined not to be accessible to ordinary people. Lin Feng had already heard the rumors of the kingdom of 10,000 immortals. Now, Feng Wanxian, the sect leader of the reincarnation immortal sect, actually summoned the kingdom of 10,000 immortals. In the kingdom of 10,000 immortals, it even showed the 10,000 immortals phantom. It was really incredible. It was shocking and moving. Lin Feng felt that things were not so simple. He vaguely felt that there was a reason why the sect leader called him Feng Wanxian. He thought of the kingdom of 10,000 immortals. Was it that? Feng Wanxian. In fact, he had a close connection with the kingdom of 10,000 immortals that others didn't know. The more Lin Feng thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. From some things, he could see some clues. For example, the magical power that Feng Wanxian mastered was related to the kingdom of 10,000 immortals. Moreover, Lin Feng thought of the peak battle between Feng Wanxian and the Red World Fairy. Immortal Venerable Red Dust had long cultivated the 3,000 Great Das. No one knew how terrifying it was. Feng Wanxian and the Red World Fairy fought for thousands of rounds and was defeated by one move. Then, how terrifying was Feng Wanxian's cultivation to be able to do this? Lin Feng even suspected. Did Feng Wanxian get the orthodoxy of the kingdom of 10,000 immortals? Of course. These were Feng Wanxian's secrets. Everyone had their own secrets. Lin Feng wouldn't ask Feng Wanxian. This was the most basic principle of dealing with things. The 10,000 immortals, Phantom Thousand Immortals, walked out of the kingdom of 10,000 immortals. They entered the darkness. They fought with the unknown existence in the darkness. The darkness kept corroding Feng Wanxian and Lin Feng's bodies. But Feng Wanxian's methods were extremely amazing. Finally, the darkness dispersed, and of the sky, Feng Wanxian's body became even more illusory. A night of exhaustion had almost exhausted him. Are you still not done yet? You don't need to worry about me. When Feng Wanxian heard Lin Feng, he remained silent. Of times, Lin Feng frowned. He hadn't thought that things would be so serious. He did not doubt Feng Wanxian's words. After all, there was no need for Feng Wanxian to lie to Lin Feng. Lin Feng asked, "Senior, may I know how I can rescue you? My body is bound by the chains of destiny. I need to find the sword of destiny and sever the chains. Only then can you help me escape." Feng Wanxian said, "Sword of destiny? What's that?" Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. Feng Wanxian said, "The sword of destiny is the sword of the master of destiny. Only the sword of destiny can sever the chains of destiny." After hearing Feng Wanxian's explanation, Lin Feng finally understood the origin of the sword of destiny. It seemed that the master of destiny didn't just forge the immortal bell of destiny. Lin Feng asked curiously, "Senior, may I know how you ended up trapped under the mountain range back then?" Feng Wanxian sighed. "It's a long story." He didn't answer Lin Feng's question directly. There was even a hint of sadness in her eyes when she said the words "it's hard to explain." Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter inwardly. Back then, when Feng Wanxian was imprisoned here, he didn't show any hatred or anger. Instead, he showed a sad expression. What was going on? Could he have been schemed against by someone he knew? Only when one was plotted against by someone they knew, someone they thought they were close to, would they show such an expression. Of course, these were just Lin Feng's guesses. What exactly was the situation? Lin Feng didn't know for now. However, he felt that this matter was indeed not simple. Perhaps the truth was very close to his guesses. "Senior, do you know where the Sword of Destiny is?" Lin Feng asked. "I know, but that place is too dangerous. There are extremely terrifying creatures guarding it. If you enter it rashly, only death will await you. Not to mention you, even Emperor Lords or some itinerant immortals would not be able to return after entering that place." Feng Wanxian said, "What? That place is so dangerous?" Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. The place that Feng Wanxian mentioned was too terrifying. Lin Feng continued to ask, "Senior, is the place where the Master of Destiny died?" Feng Wanxian nodded and said, "That's right. That place is where the Master of Destiny died. There are too many terrifying creatures around it. It's a true forbidden area, the core of this land of death. Lin Feng finally understood why that place was so dangerous. It turned out that it was the core of the land of death. The core of any land of death was an incomparably dangerous place. No one dared to enter those places, because entering them was no different from courting death. Lin Feng had some understanding of the core of the land of death. It was said that the sleeping beings in the core area were all extremely ancient existences. Due to various reasons, they had no choice but to sleep in the core of the land of death. They hoped to extend their lifespan. Lin Feng said, "Maybe I can give it a try. I know you have good intentions, but that place is too dangerous. I won't tell you the exact location." "Senior, don't worry. I'm not acting recklessly. I have a stone armor on me that can block the detection of the terrifying creatures in the land of death. If I wear the stone armor and be careful, I think I should be able to sneak into the place where the Master of Destiny died." Lin Feng said, "Oh, there's such a stone armor?" Feng Wanxian couldn't help but be shocked. Lin Feng nodded. He said, "Senior, please tell this junior where that place is. This junior will definitely be more careful." Feng Wanxian was silent for a moment. Finally, he said, "All right, I can tell you the place. However, if you find something amiss, return immediately." "All right," Lin Feng replied. Chapter 36:30. Lin Feng looked at the mountain peak, which wasn't too far away. It seemed that he was now in the depths of the swamp of destiny. Let's take advantage of the fact that the darkness erosion hasn't appeared in the morning. I'll go take a look at that place," Lin Feng said. "Don't be in a hurry. Wait until nighttime." Feng Wanxian said. "Nighttime?" Lin Feng was very confused. In his opinion, nighttime was the most dangerous time. The hope of deceiving the world was also the slimmest. Feng Wanxian explained, "Most of the creatures there are in deep slumber, and very few of them have awakened. Usually, when they wake up, they will choose to go out to look for food. However, they don't like to see the sun, so they will still stay there during the day. At nighttime, when the darkness erosion has occurred, they will come out. That's when the darkness erosion has occurred. "I see." Lin Feng couldn't help but nod. Feng Wanxian then took out a jade talisman and handed it to Lin Feng. "If you leave that place at night, it will be very dangerous when the darkness erosion occurs. Take this jade talisman with you. It will protect your safety." "Thank you, Senior." Lin Feng took the jade talisman and thanked Feng Wanxian. "I should be the one thanking you. You should rest well. I also need to conserve my energy and prepare to deal with the darkness erosion tonight." Feng Wanxian said. "All right." Lin Feng nodded. They each found a place to rest. Lin Feng's divine will entered the mountain river ring and carefully checked Wu Yuehan's condition. Then, Lin Feng frowned. Wu Yuehan was still unconscious. It seemed that the monster's poison was really too terrifying. Although the white jade toad had helped Wu Yuehan detoxify the poison, Wu Yuehan's condition was still very bad. The only thing worth rejoicing about was that Wu Yuehan's life was not in danger. After his divine will left the mountain river ring, Lin Feng began to adjust his breathing. The previous battle had been intense. Lin Feng had also consumed a lot of energy, so he took advantage of this opportunity to adjust himself to his best condition. Only then would they be able to better deal with the various dangers that were about to come. Time passed. Very soon, the sun was setting. Dusk arrived. Soon, darkness would envelop the land. Feng Wanxian opened his eyes and walked out. He looked at Lin Feng and said, "Go now before it gets dark. The darkness won't erode the mountain you're going to. When you get there, don't rush in. Find a place to hide and wait until midnight to enter." Junior will remember. Lin Feng cupped his fists and quickly left. A cold and gloomy aura filled the swamp. The outer regions of the mountain range were filled with swamps. It was impossible to walk on them, so they could only fly. From time to time, highly toxic marsh gas would be emitted. There were many terrifying ferocious beasts and poisonous insects living in the swamp. This was something that the cultivators entering Fate Swamp had to be extra careful about. Of course, The most terrifying thing about Fate Swamp wasn't the various ferocious beasts or poisonous insects in the swamp. Instead, it was the dark erosion and some ancient existences that had awakened from their slumber. The dark erosion could devour life, and those ancient existences that had awakened from their slumber all had heaven-defying cultivation bases. No matter what kind of situation it was, once encountered, it would make one despair. Lin Feng quickly moved through the swamp. He had to increase his speed. He had to get to the mountain range before the darkness corroded his body. The dark erosion was too terrifying. Lin Feng had obtained the life-saving jade talisman from Feng Wanxian, but he still had to be cautious when dealing with the dark erosion. Because Lin Feng was worried about the jade talisman, it couldn't completely resist the dark erosion. Lin Feng was very fast. Before the sky turned dark, he arrived outside the mountain range. Then, Lin Feng took out the stone armor and put it on. The stone armor was very heavy and had a greenish-gray color. It was very similar to the color of many ordinary stones in the forest. But obviously, the stone armor had an extraordinary effect. After putting on the stone armor, Lin Feng entered the mountain range. There was a slightly lower mountain peak at the entrance of the mountain range. That mountain peak was like a fierce tiger. That ferocious tiger would jump up at any time and pounce forward. And the main peak not far away was shaped like a giant dragon. A dragon and a tiger. A place of great danger. Lin Feng frowned slightly, but he didn't pay too much attention to the terrain here. This was a place where a group of terrifying creatures slept, so it was naturally very dangerous. So, there was nothing to be surprised about having such a dangerous terrain. Lin Feng entered the mountain range and found a hidden place. He hid in this place and waited for the darkness to come. Not long after, the darkness came, and a cold aura spread between heaven and earth. The dark erosion appeared. Just as Feng Wanxian said, the dark erosion didn't erode the Longhu mountain range where Lin Feng was. Maybe it was because this place should be the place where the ancient creatures of the Swamp of Destiny slept. A scorching flame flew from the depths. Looking carefully, one could see that there was a ferocious beast in the flame. It was a fire ape with 3 heads and 6 arms. The fire ape's aura was monstrous, although it didn't deliberately release its aura, and Lin Feng was more than 1,000 meters away from the fire ape. But Lin Feng still felt like he was suffocating under the pressure. That feeling was quite terrible. His breathing became slightly hurried. The fire ape was very sensitive. It was originally flying outside, but now the fire ape stopped and stood in the void, looking around. It seemed to be searching for Lin Feng's traces. Lin Feng was shocked. He just breathed a little more heavily, but the fire ape sensed it. Moreover, he had the stone armor to cover his aura, so it was difficult to really hide it. The fire ape was too terrifying. Lin Feng quickly stopped breathing and didn't dare to make any movements, for fear of attracting the fire ape's attention. The fire ape searched for a while, but didn't find any movement, so it flew outside. Lin Feng didn't let out a long breath until the fire ape left. In the next period of time, 6 or 7 terrifying creatures walked out from the depths of the mountain range. Until late at night, no more creatures walked out from the depths of the mountain range. Lin Feng walked out of his hiding place. He took a deep breath. Carefully, he walked into the depths of the mountain range. Not long after, Lin Feng saw the huge cave residence in the depths of the mountain range. Chapter 36-31. It's here. Lin Feng came to the outside of the cave and looked into the depths. It was pitch black inside and visibility was extremely low. Such a place suppressed the 6 senses. Therefore, even if a powerful cultivator came here, he wouldn't be able to see too far. Most importantly, such a place couldn't be explored with spiritual force. Once spiritual force was used, if he used divine sense, he would definitely be discovered by the terrifying creature sleeping inside. At that time, he would be dead. Lin Feng carefully entered the cave. This passageway was extremely large and winding. He couldn't even see his fingers in front of him. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. Right now, he was rather worried that he was stepping on a sleeping ferocious beast. Wouldn't that be terrible? Now, Lin Feng could only hope that his luck wouldn't be so bad. A cold and gloomy aura filled the cave. Not long after, a cracking sound was heard. When this sound was heard, Lin Feng was so scared that his hands and feet turned cold, because he stepped on something and made a sound. Fortunately, he had just entered the cave not long ago. In the area he was in, there weren't any terrifying sleeping creatures. Otherwise, he would definitely alarm those terrifying creatures. Lin Feng squatted down and felt around. He found a pile of bones in front of him. Someone came here in the past? And he even died in this place? Lin Feng took a deep breath. Since ancient times, there had been no lack of peerless experts who were interested in the land of death. Those peerless experts came one after another to explore the secrets of the land of death. Some of them did indeed obtain heaven-defying opportunities in the land of death. Then, they completed a major transformation in their lives and became unparalleled existences. However, even more people died in the land of death, becoming skeletons in the land of death. Only a few succeeded. Even more people were reduced to white bones. Lin Feng carefully walked around the skeleton and continued to walk deeper. He became more and more careful, because the deeper he went, the more dangerous it became. Who knew when a terrifying creature would appear? Not long after, a gloomy and terrifying aura spread out from the depths. After feeling that gloomy and terrifying aura, Lin Feng's face turned pale. A terrifying creature was walking outside. He could already hear the footsteps. Could it be that the terrifying creature had discovered him? Lin Feng stood in the cave, leaning against the wall on the left. He didn't move and even held his breath. He didn't dare to make any noise. Not long after, a pair of pale green eyes appeared in the darkness. It was too dark in the cave. Therefore, Lin Feng couldn't see the terrifying creature's body. He could only see its eyes. That terrifying creature walked outside step by step. Lin Feng didn't know what level of an expert it was. When Lin Feng sensed his qi, he had the impression that his determination was about to collapse. This was an indescribable pressure. It was so powerful that it made people despair. That terrifying creature soon came to Lin Feng's side. At such a close distance, Lin Feng finally saw what kind of creature it was. It was a creature with a human body and a crow's head. His hands weren't human hands, but a pair of thick arms, like the claws of a crocodile. The most creepy thing was that this terrifying creature didn't have hair growing on its body. His body was densely covered with small snakes. It was a small black snake that grew out of his body. The densely packed small snakes stuck out their forked tongues and looked around with cold eyes. When it came to Lin Feng's side, that terrifying monster actually stopped. He seemed to have noticed something. Lin Feng's face changed greatly, but he didn't dare to make any noise. The stone coat could block the senses of these terrifying creatures, but if Lin Feng moved, he definitely wouldn't be able to block the senses of these terrifying creatures. At that time, he would definitely be discovered by these terrifying creatures. At that time, it would be a dead end. Suddenly, that terrifying creature turned his head and looked at Lin Feng's position. He walked towards Lin Feng's position step by step. Dong dong dong. Lin Feng's heartbeat suddenly sped up. He felt as if his heart was about to jump out. At this moment, suddenly, an earth-shattering sound came from outside. He didn't know what had happened. This terrifying creature turned his head and looked outside. Then, he turned into a bolt of lightning. He quickly rushed outside and soon disappeared without a trace. Scared me to death. Lin Feng's heart still had lingering fear. Only now did he realize that his back was drenched in cold sweat. It was really too dangerous just now. If it wasn't for the change outside, he was afraid. He had been discovered by that terrifying existence. At that time, it would be difficult to escape. Lin Feng stabilized his emotions. Then, he walked inside step by step. Not long after, there was some light in front. A cave appeared on the rock wall on the left side of the cave. The light was emitted from that cave. What's that? Lin Feng couldn't help muttering. He walked towards the cave. When he arrived outside the cave, Lin Feng found that the cave was isolated by a layer of golden light. That layer of golden light was very special. It seemed to be able to slow down the flow of time. And in the cave, there was a terrifying creature lying on its stomach. This creature was extremely strange. It had the body of a deer, the head of a lion, the eyes of a dragon, the tail of a tiger, and the claws of a leopard. Lin Feng had never seen such a creature. And this creature was obviously still alive, because Lin Feng found that its body was moving up and down. It was obviously breathing. Lin Feng didn't disturb this terrifying creature. He left the place where the terrifying creature was sleeping and continued to walk inside. Not long after, Lin Feng saw the second cave. In this cave, there was also a terrifying creature slumbering in a deep sleep. What surprised Lin Feng was that the terrifying creature sleeping in this cave looked like a dragon. This dragon was about 3 meters long. Its body was like a lizard, and its head was huge. Looking at its head, it looked like a Tyrannosaurus rex of the Earth Dragon clan. The Tyrannosaurus rex was in existence that was even stronger than the Tyrannosaurus rex. However, this dragon's body was a little too small. The Western Dragon clan's body was generally larger. Lin Feng walked all the way into the depths. He saw dozens of caves one after another. Some of the caves were empty, and some of the caves had terrifying creatures sleeping in them. Lin Feng passed through the place where the creatures were sleeping, and a fork appeared in front of him. Lin Feng entered the left fork. Not long after, he saw a skeleton. Chapter 36-32. The corpse was sitting cross-legged, and the clothes on his body had long rotted away, even though only the skeleton was left. However, his skeleton was still emitting a shocking energy fluctuation. His skeleton was not the grayish-white skeleton of an ordinary cultivator. It was a very rare emerald green skeleton. This kind of emerald green skeleton was the color of jade. In the darkness, it emitted a faint fluorescent light. Could it be the skeleton of the Master of Destiny? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. It wasn't an easy task to mutate the bones. It required a strong cultivation base to support it. Obviously, a powerhouse like the Master of Destiny should have this ability. And this powerhouse was sitting cross-legged when he died, and his corpse was not damaged at all. In other words, the terrifying creatures living here did not touch this corpse. One had to know. The terrifying creatures that lived here were not good people. After this powerhouse died, his corpse must have had a great effect on the cultivation of these creatures. But the creatures here did not eat this powerhouse's corpse. This meant that there were too many problems. Lin Feng carefully walked towards the corpse. As he got closer to the corpse, he slowly approached it. Waves of gloomy and cold aura spread and engulfed his entire body. That kind of gloomy and cold aura made Lin Feng shiver involuntarily. A faint pressure spread out from the corpse. Although it was not strong, it was extremely terrifying. After feeling the pressure emitted from the corpse, Lin Feng felt an extremely serious sense of oppression in his heart. That kind of oppression made Lin Feng feel like he was about to suffocate. This junior did not mean to offend senior. This time, I came here hoping to obtain senior's inheritance and spread senior's lifelong knowledge. Lin Feng said respectfully. Lin Feng did not come here just to find the Sword of Destiny. Of course, his main purpose was still to obtain the inheritance of the Master of Destiny. Lin Feng hoped to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So far, everything seemed to be going quite smoothly. That skeleton seemed to have its own consciousness, and when it heard Lin Feng's words, it was shocked. The pressure emanating from the skeleton actually dissipated. Lin Feng looked at the skeleton in shock. As expected of the skeleton left behind by a top powerhouse, he could even understand his words. Lin Feng walked towards the skeleton again. He gradually approached the skeleton. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little excited when he came to the skeleton's side. Countless powerhouses outside were trying to find the orthodoxy of the Master of Destiny. But who would have thought? He had actually obtained the orthodoxy of the Master of Destiny? However, there was one thing that Lin Feng was puzzled about. He didn't see the Destiny Immortal Bell. Could it be that the treasure was still outside? The Immortal Bell of Destiny was extraordinary. Lin Feng guessed that this supreme treasure had most likely turned into a tool cultivator. It was extremely difficult to subdue such an existence. Perhaps the current mission of the Destiny Immortal Bell was to find a successor for the Master of Destiny. Lin Feng kowtowed 3 times in front of the skeleton. Then, He took off the storage ring on the skeleton's hand and impatiently poured his divine sense into the storage ring. But then, Lin Feng's expression turned ugly. The storage ring had been destroyed. This made Lin Feng extremely depressed. Could it be that the Sword of Destiny was destroyed along with the storage ring? And the orthodoxy of the Master of Destiny's legacy was also destroyed? Lin Feng frowned. At this moment, Lin Feng saw that there seemed to be a token in the arms of the skeleton. Lin Feng held the token in his hand. He carefully observed it. The token was made of an unknown material and was cold to the touch. When Lin Feng took the talisman, he was astonished. Suddenly, a voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. It seems that someone has entered this place. When the voice fell, Lin Feng felt the scene in front of him change. The next moment, he arrived in a mysterious space. There were only two people in this space. One of them was him. The other person was a man in white. This man in white was extremely handsome. "Senior, are you the Master of Destiny?" Lin Feng looked at the man and asked. The reason he entered this space should be related to the token. Lin Feng suspected that the skeleton belonged to the Master of Destiny and that the skeleton should be the man in front of him. "I am not the Master of Destiny," the man in white said. Lin Feng was shocked. The man in white was not the Master of Destiny. This was beyond Lin Feng's expectations. "The skeleton of the Master of Destiny is in another cave," the man in white said. Lin Feng asked, "Senior, how should I address you?" "Undying Realm, by Changtian," the man in white said. Lin Feng was surprised. He had not expected this man to be a cultivator of the Undying Realm. The white-clothed man continued, "I hope that you can help me bring this token to the Undying Realm and then give it to my father, by Lin Chan. Also, tell my father to be on guard against eldest senior brother Sun Daoyang." "Why must you be wary of him?" Lin Feng could sense that things were not as simple as they seemed and could not help but ask. The man in white sighed. "In the past, I came here with big senior brother to search for the items left behind by the Master of Destiny. However, big senior brother ambushed me, and I suffered a near-fatal injury. However, I managed to injure big senior brother severely as well. Big senior brother managed to escape while I was powerless to do anything. Eventually, I passed away here." Lin Feng asked, "Could it be that he wanted to take all the treasures here for himself? Was that why he tried to kill him?" The man in white shook his head. "Big senior brother cultivates the Tao of emotionlessness. He has no interest in treasures that have nothing to do with the Tao of emotionlessness. The reason why big senior brother ambushed me was because he wanted to become the Grandmaster of Jiling Sect." "Jiling Sect? What sort of power is that?" Lin Feng asked curiously. The man in white replied, "Jiling Sect is one of the oldest and strongest sects in the Undying Realm. They control the Jiling region of the Undying Realm. My father is the Grandmaster of Jiling Sect, and I'm the first in line to inherit the position. Only by killing me can big senior brother see any hope of taking control of Jiling Sect." Lin Feng asked, "Senior, didn't you notice the wild ambitions of this man?" The man in white sighed. "Big senior brother hit it too well. Everyone was fooled by him. He knew that I was interested in the Tao teachings of the Master of Destiny. Therefore, he thought of a way to find the Tao teachings of the Master of Destiny to lure me here. However, I don't hate him. If I do, I can only hate myself for trusting him too much." Lin Feng continued, "If I can reach the Undying Realm, I will definitely not let you down. I will report this matter to Senior's father. Many thanks." Chapter 36-33. The thing that appeared in the hands of the man in white was a white jade pendant. "This is..." Lin Feng looked at the white jade pendant and couldn't help but frown slightly. The white jade pendant was extraordinary. He just didn't know. What was the origin of this white jade pendant? The man in white said with a sad expression, "This was originally a pendant given to me by my junior sister Qian Choshua. I understand my junior sister's feelings, but in the end, I have to let her down. Please bring it back with you and give this pendant to my junior sister." Lin Feng took the pendant. He glanced at it and found that the pendant was not a treasure. Estimated. It was just an ordinary token, but it had an extraordinary meaning. "Okay, When the time comes, I will definitely help Senior to give the pendant to Senior Qian Qiuxue, Lin Feng said. Thank you. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to leave for you. The man in white sighed. Lin Feng said, Senior is too serious. Junior is not doing this to get anything. Work hard to cultivate. The world is very big and boundless. In the future, you will come into contact with a new world. At that time, you will know that what you see and know is after all a small place. The man in white said. Lin Feng felt that the man in white's words had a hidden meaning. Because at the current stage, what Lin Feng saw and knew about the world was boundless. But the man in white said that this was a small place. It couldn't help but make people daydream. Lin Feng didn't know what the man in white's words meant, but Lin Feng felt that. The man in white must want to tell him something. But in the end, he was afraid and didn't say it out loud, but he still said this sentence. To remind himself, the man in white's body began to become illusory. His body, it was dissipating little by little. In the end, the man in white's body completely disappeared in front of him, and Lin Feng felt a flash of light in front of his eyes. The next moment, his divine sense returned. Lin Feng found himself standing in the cave. The man in white skeleton actually spontaneously combusted, and in his hand, he was actually holding the pendant that the man in white gave him. Rest in peace. Lin Feng muttered to himself as he looked at the burning white-clothed man's skeleton. Next, he bowed 3 more times to the white-clothed man's skeleton. The white-robed man's skeleton turned into ashes. Lin Feng sighed. In the past, this person must have been incomparably powerful, but in the end, he ended up in such a miserable state. It really made one sigh endlessly. The world of cultivators was just that cruel. Sometimes you don't hurt people, but there's no guarantee that others won't harm you. Therefore, one must always be on guard against others. This sentence was simply a saying of wisdom. He absolutely could not forget it, because once he forgot, once he relaxed, he might be schemed against. At that time, he would end up like the white-robed man, dying a tragic death. Lin Feng put away the token and the white jade pendant. Then, he went back the way he came. Soon, Lin Feng arrived at the fork in the road. Lin Feng then walked towards another cave. After entering the cave, Lin Feng saw a skeleton in the depths of the cave. The owner of the skeleton had been dead for a long time. Next to the skeleton, there was a sword stuck in the ground. When he saw the sword, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. The Sword of Destiny. That sword must be the supreme treasure passed down by the Master of Destiny, the Sword of Destiny. Because Lin Feng felt the power of destiny from that sword. That sword was also the key to saving Feng Wanxian. Found it. I finally found the skeleton of the Master of Destiny and the Sword of Destiny. I wonder if the inheritance of the Master of Destiny is also here? Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. He walked towards the skeleton of the Master of Destiny. However, at this moment, a gust of cold wind blew in the cave. When the chilly wind blew, Lin Feng's mind suddenly trembled. Because the cave was located in the innermost part of the cave, the wind from the outside couldn't blow in. However, the chilly wind that blew for no reason made Lin Feng feel that something was wrong. He quickly stopped and held his breath, not daring to move an inch. Clang! However, at this moment, an invisible force blasted onto Lin Feng's body through the stone armor. That formless power was simply too powerful. It directly sent Lin Feng flying. The stone armor was extraordinary. It blocked most of the force. Only a small part of the force affected Lin Feng. Even so, that small part of the force still caused great damage to Lin Feng. The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Lin Feng didn't know how many bones in his body were broken. His face turned as white as a sheet of paper. His mind was overwhelmed with shock. There must be a terrifying creature hiding in this cave. It was that terrifying creature that attacked him. Lin Feng got up from the ground. He looked around with a gloomy expression. However, after searching carefully, Lin Feng didn't find anything. Other than the skeleton of the Master of Destiny, he was the only one here. Don't you think it's embarrassing for such a powerful existence like you to hide in the dark and attack? Come out and let me see what kind of creature you are, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. However, he didn't get any response. Bang! In the next moment, An invisible force blasted onto Lin Feng's body again. Immediately, Lin Feng was sent flying. Wah! Lin Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. His face became even paler. If it wasn't for the stone armor, it would have been too dangerous just now. This kind of stone armor could neutralize the attacks of creatures in the land of death. However, it could only neutralize a part of the attack. It couldn't neutralize all the attacks. Therefore, Lin Feng's situation was still very bad. Lin Feng didn't even know what attacked him. This made him feel a deep sense of powerlessness. If this continued, only death would await him. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Lin Feng didn't want to sit still and wait for death. He looked at the skeleton of the Master of Destiny. Perhaps, the skeleton of the Master of Destiny could protect him. Lin Feng got up from the ground and quickly ran towards the skeleton of the Master of Destiny. An endless gloomy and cold aura filled the air, and a majestic power suddenly burst out like the sea. Like a waterfall falling, its power was so strong that it was shocking. That terrifying force directly enveloped Lin Feng. Not good. Lin Feng felt his hands and feet turn cold. There was no way he could resist that terrifying force. His face immediately revealed an expression of extreme shock. If such a terrifying force descended, it would be disastrous. It was very likely that he would die and his Tao would vanish. At this moment of life and death, the Sword of Destiny, it actually shook the void. In the Sword of Destiny, Chapter 36-34. Swoosh! Dazzling sword energy surged out from the inside of the Sword of Destiny. The sword energy seemed to be able to instantly pierce through the void and shatter heaven and earth. The power was so strong that it was shocking. The Sword of Destiny directly soared into the sky and came to Lin Feng's side. Lin Feng fully activated the 3 layers of Haki. His body was under the protection of the Haki. Soon, he was able to move freely. Lin Feng opened his big hand and grabbed the Sword of Destiny. Crack! It was accompanied by a violent sound of friction. The Sword of Destiny was directly grabbed by Lin Feng. Then, Lin Feng waved the Sword of Destiny and slashed forward. The surging terrifying power was instantly torn apart by Lin Feng's Sword of Destiny. The power of the Sword of Destiny. Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked, because the Sword of Destiny actually dissolved the terrifying creature's attack. Roar! But at this moment, a low roar resounded in the cave. The commotion here, it had already attracted the attention of the sleeping creatures outside. Some sleeping creatures only raised their eyelids. Then they continued to close their eyes, ignoring the situation in the depths of the cave. However, some of the sleeping creatures came out of their slumber. Then they entered the depths of the cave. A total of 7 or 8 terrifying creatures arrived. When he saw those terrifying creatures, Lin Feng's face suddenly changed. With so many terrifying creatures, the situation was too dangerous. It made him feel the threat of death. Although the Sword of Destiny could exert an unimaginable effect, but it was unrealistic to only rely on the Sword of Destiny to block the attacks of so many terrifying creatures. Lin Feng was also very clear about this. Therefore, Lin Feng's expression was very serious. The current situation was extremely unfavorable for him. The slightest carelessness could cause him to die here. The person who is blessed by fate. A silver creature looked at Lin Feng, its eyes flashing with dense killing intent. Very good, it can increase our fate. Another creature said with a cold smile, full of murderous intent. These terrifying creatures devoured flesh and blood only to maintain some of their physical needs. What really drove them crazy was the power of providence. Luck was something that couldn't be explained in words. This was an invisible force that no one could see with the naked eye. However, no one could ignore providence. Some people could find an ancient cultivator's immortal's cave just by going out, and then make a fortune. Some people went through untold hardships, narrowly escaping death, and finally found a cave that not only did not have any treasures, it was actually occupied by a large number of terrifying ferocious beasts. This was because the 2 of them had different destinies. Their cultivation realms became more and more profound. The greater the effect of luck on a cultivator, the greater the effect. The terrifying creatures in the land of death clearly had a greater desire for luck than anyone else. They yearned for the blessing of providence, which would play an extremely important role in their future. Let's share this human cultivator's fortune. The third terrifying being spoke. Then, a group of terrifying creatures rushed towards Lin Feng. Suffocating pressure. It engulfed his entire body, even though he was holding the sword of destiny. But Lin Feng still felt his soul trembling. He couldn't even move his body. This feeling was too terrible. It was hard to imagine what level of existence these creatures were. In front of these existences, Lin Feng felt like he was an ant. These terrifying creatures were all gigantic dragons. The difference was so great. Just as these terrifying creatures were about to pounce, suddenly, crack, the void cracked open. Then, an ancient bell flew out from the crack in the void. When he saw this ancient bell, Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. This ancient bell. It was actually the immortal bell of destiny. Lin Feng had seen the immortal bell of destiny before, and he even suspected that the immortal bell of destiny had turned into a weapon cultivator. This suspicion wasn't without reason. The immortal bell of destiny was simply too heaven-defying in many ways. This was the main reason why Lin Feng was suspicious. Now that the immortal bell of destiny had appeared, a powerful devouring force surged out from the immortal bell of destiny. Lin Feng was devoured by the immortal bell of destiny. As for those terrifying creatures, they rushed over and bombarded the destiny immortal bell with their powerful attacks. Dong dong dong. The immortal bell of destiny suddenly let out earth-shaking collisions. But the immortal bell of destiny was simply too hard. These terrifying creatures of the land of death were incomparably powerful, but their attacks weren't able to destroy the immortal bell of destiny. This was the life treasure of the Master of Destiny. Naturally, it was incomparably extraordinary. After blocking the attacks of the terrifying creatures, the immortal bell of destiny directly tore open the void. Then, it drilled into the cracked void and disappeared without a trace. The terrifying creatures let out furious roars one after another. Swish! A light flashed. The immortal bell of destiny appeared in a forest. Then, the immortal bell of destiny threw Lin Feng out. Thank you for saving my life. Lin Feng cupped his fists. The immortal bell of destiny said, "You were actually able to silently sneak into the place where the Master of Destiny died. You are quite capable." Lin Feng was shocked. Now, the immortal bell of destiny had taken the initiative to speak. It seemed that the immortal bell of destiny had indeed turned into a weapon cultivator. For a treasure like the immortal bell of destiny, once it turned into a weapon cultivator, it would become an independent entity. It was equivalent to a cultivator. Under normal circumstances, others wouldn't be able to subdue it. There were only two ways to make the immortal bell of destiny recognize a master. First, the immortal bell of destiny recognized a master. Second, using absolute strength to suppress the immortal bell of destiny. But obviously, it was extremely difficult to do these two things. Lin Feng said, "I was very lucky to be able to enter that place." The immortal bell of destiny said, "If it was just luck, you wouldn't have been able to enter that place. Since you found the skeleton of the Master of Destiny, I am free now. I can finally be free. Take this item, it should be of great benefit to you." Light surged. An item flew out. That item. It was actually a stone. This is... Lin Feng was puzzled. The Stone of Destiny. The Master of Destiny was born with the Stone of Destiny. My mission is to wait for the arrival of a person who can inherit the Stone of Destiny. The Stone of Destiny should have recorded the most powerful divine abilities of the Master of Destiny. Cultivate well, and don't let the divine abilities of the Master of Destiny be lost. As soon as it finished speaking, the immortal bell of destiny disappeared into thin air. The methods of the immortal bell of destiny were indeed extremely shocking. Chapter 36-35. There was basically no dark erosion in the depths of the swamp of fate. However, this was not absolute. Lin Feng appeared in the depths of the territory. The dark corrosive energies were staring at him. The dark erosion was as fast as lightning. It swallowed all the light around it. Lin Feng hurriedly took out the jade talisman that Feng Wanxian had given him before. When the dark erosion came, a dazzling immortal light gushed out from the mysterious jade talisman. 9 figures appeared in the immortal light. They seemed to be immortals of the country of 10,000 immortals. They surrounded Lin Feng and helped Lin Feng resist the dark erosion. Lin Feng vaguely heard a sound like a ghost crying coming from the darkness. That sound made Lin Feng's hair stand on end. In addition to the sound like a ghost crying, Lin Feng always felt that there seemed to be something terrifying staring at him in the darkness. This feeling was so strong. Lin Feng had always been extremely confident in his feelings. Therefore, he believed in everything he felt. He couldn't stay in this place any longer. Or else, he didn't know what terrible situation would happen. Lin Feng quickly rushed to the distance. The 9 immortal phantoms guarded him and dispelled the darkness. And the darkness had been constantly attacking the defense line of the 9 immortal phantoms. Again and again, it hit him. After attacking many times in a row, it didn't break through the defense line of the immortal phantoms. This made Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. In the end, Lin Feng returned to the place where Feng Wanxian was suppressed under the protection of the 9 immortal phantoms. Feng Wanxian's spiritual body was resisting the dark erosion. "Senior, I brought the Sword of Destiny," Lin Feng said. Feng Wanxian's spiritual body showed joy. Feng Wanxian's spiritual body rushed to Lin Feng. He joined Lin Feng. He needed to protect Lin Feng's safety to prevent Lin Feng from being killed by the dark erosion. When dawn came, the dark erosion quickly dispersed. After a night of fighting, Feng Wanxian's spirit body became more and more illusory. Perhaps it was just as the innumerable immortal spirit body had said, his spirit tea would not be able to last for long. Perhaps in the near future, his spirit body would be destroyed. Lin Feng's appearance was just too timely. "Go. Let's go down," Feng Wanxian's spirit body said. Lin Feng nodded. He followed Feng Wanxian's spirit body into the cave. In the depths of the cave was a large rift valley. The rift valley led to the bottom of the mountain range. Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian's spirit bodies entered the Great Rift Valley. In the end, they arrived at the foot of the mountain range. There was an independent space under the mountain range, and this space was enveloped by a huge energy shield. Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian's spirit bodies entered the energy barrier. Then, they arrived at the interior of the space. Inside the space, 4 thick chains connected the 4 corners of the space. Feng Wanxian's original body was chained by the 4 chains, and his body was suspended in midair. However, at this moment, Feng Wanxian's original body was motionless, and his eyes were closed. Feng Wanxian's spirit body entered the body of his original body. At this time, Feng Wanxian's original body opened his eyes. Lin Feng took out the Sword of Destiny, then jumped up into the air and slashed at one of the chains. Puff! The Sword of Destiny cut the chain in half in an instant. Lin Feng moved quickly and slashed 3 more times in a row. Puff! 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 The other 3 chains were also cut by Lin Feng. Feng Wanxian was free. Feng Wanxian, who had just escaped, was severely injured. Obviously, it would take some time for him to fully recover. However, Feng Wanxian was strong enough, so his aura was still unfathomable. "Come with me." Feng Wanxian waved his hand, and Lin Feng was immediately wrapped up. They flew deeper into the space. They directly penetrated through that space. When they came out of that space, they found themselves in the core world. Here, raging flames burned the world. "Senior, what are you doing here?" Lin Feng asked. "Back then, I came here to look for something, but I didn't find it. Instead, I was plotted against and imprisoned. But in recent years, I've sensed that thing. It seems to have appeared," Feng Wanxian said. "What thing?" Lin Feng asked. "Saint Soul Dragon Crystal," Feng Wanxian said. "Saint Soul Dragon Crystal? What's that?" Lin Feng asked, puzzled. "One crystal can create 2 thoughts. Even if the soul dies, the body will not die. A single Saint Soul Dragon Crystal can help a person split into 2 secondary primordial spirits," Feng Wanxian said. "What? So powerful?" Lin Feng was shocked. In recent years, Lin Feng had encountered many fortuitous encounters. He had obtained several natural treasures, and he had split into 3 secondary primordial spirits. So now, Lin Feng had one primary primordial spirit and 3 secondary primordial spirits. He could do 4 things at once. It was a treasure that could help a cultivator split into 2 secondary primordial spirits. Lin Feng had never seen it before, let alone seen it before. He had never even heard of it before. There are always some unbelievable things in this world. The Saint Soul Dragon Crystal is one such thing. Feng Wanxian said. Lin Feng nodded. He and Feng Wanxian began to search for the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal. However, after searching for a long time, they still couldn't find it. Could it be that the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal has left this place? Lin Feng asked. Impossible. A few days ago, I sensed the aura of the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal, Feng Wanxian said. Then, he looked at the depths of the planet's core. Flames were burning there, and the void was distorted by the heat. The temperature there was at least a few 100,000 degrees. If ordinary great emperors approached that area, their bodies would be burned to ashes. Therefore, under normal circumstances, no one dared to go there. Let's go there and take a look. Feng Wanxian pointed at the area. It was the entrance to the depths of the planet's core. The center of the great world was the planet's core. In the depths of the planet's core, there was the power of the great world. However, the depths of the planet's core were too terrifying. Under normal circumstances, it was very difficult to enter and extract the power of the great world. This was because it was said that the power of the great world was often very powerful. Even if a cultivator entered the depths of the planet's core, they would probably be killed by the power of the great world. Lin Feng took out the ruler's armor. He wore the ruler's armor to protect his body as he flew toward the entrance to the depths of the planet's core with Feng Wanxian. As they got closer to the entrance to the depths of the planet's core, the temperature became higher and higher. However, Lin Feng had the 5 heavenly fires and the protection of the ruler's armor, so this temperature didn't hurt Lin Feng. Feng Wanxian's strength was heaven-defying. This temperature also didn't cause any harm to Feng Wanxian. Soon, Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian arrived at the entrance to the depths of the planet's core. As soon as they arrived, suddenly, amidst the endless flames, a fire dragon rushed out. The fire dragon opened its bloody mouth and tried to swallow Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian. Chapter 36-36. The fire dragon was hidden in the flames. Taking advantage of the appearance of Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian, it suddenly attacked, wanting to catch Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian off guard. It's the fire dragon transformed from the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal. Feng Wanxian's eyes suddenly lit up. The origin of the fire dragon in front of him was extremely extraordinary. It was not an ordinary fire dragon. It was the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal that Feng Wanxian had mentioned before. This made Lin Feng very surprised. Because the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal could actually transform into a fire dragon, it was really incredible. Lin Feng's mind became active. If he could get the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal, it would be of great benefit to him. In fact, Lin Feng still had a supreme treasure that could split the 5th primordial spirit. This supreme treasure was the 7-colored holy flower that he had obtained from the evil devil bandit group's lair. It was just that during this period of time, Lin Feng had not had time to refine the 7-colored holy flower. If he could get the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal, he could refine it together. Facing the devouring of the fire dragon formed by the Saint Soul Dragon Crystal, Lin Feng directly used the demon ancestor's sacred fist. With a punch, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Lin Feng, who was wearing the Dominator's armor, became extremely terrifying. Feng Wanxian could not help but be slightly surprised. Of course, Feng Wanxian was even more terrifying. He was a person who seized the great fortune of heaven and earth. Therefore, his realm was profound and his cultivation was powerful. Although Feng Wanxian was now weak, but this was only relatively speaking. In fact, Feng Wanxian was still extremely terrifying. Bang! Feng Wanxian attacked and slapped the fire dragon. The joint attack of Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian was really powerful. The fire dragon was directly slapped away. Seeing that it was no match for Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian, the fire dragon turned and flew toward the depths of the core world. Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian chased after it. In the depths of the core world, there were destructive forces everywhere. The void was distorted together. If one was not careful, they could be instantly killed by the distorted void. But fortunately, Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian's cultivation was high. Their means were tyrannical. They chased after him relentlessly. After chasing for dozens of miles, they finally caught up to the fire dragon formed by the Holy Soul Dragon Crystal. Lin Feng's thoughts moved. The 3 stone swords flew out and slashed towards the fire dragon. Feng Wanxian, on the other hand, condensed out a kingdom of myriad immortals, which shot towards the fire dragon. The roar of the fire dragon shook the heavens. He wanted to struggle, but in the end, he failed. He was killed by Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian. In the end, the fire dragon turned into a dragon crystal. The dragon crystal was the size of a walnut. With a flick of his finger, Feng Wanxian slashed the sword qi at the dragon crystal. Immediately, the dragon crystal split into 2. "You take this half," Feng Wanxian said. Lin Feng took the dragon crystal. He had always been like this. He wouldn't reject anything that he needed, not to mention that he had also contributed to killing the fire dragon. It was only natural for him to obtain half of the dragon crystals. Boom. At this moment, a terrifying aura emanated from the depths of the core world. That aura caused Lin Feng's expression to change abruptly. It was as if some primordial beast had awakened from its slumber. "Is there some terrifying creature in the core?" Lin Feng asked with a solemn expression. Feng Wanxian nodded and said, "It is indeed very possible. Now that I have not recovered, it is not good to stay here for long. Let's go." "All right," Lin Feng replied. He quickly flew out with Feng Wanxian. After coming out of the underground world, Lin Feng and Feng Wanxian rushed out of the Master of Destiny. The trip to the Master of Destiny was fruitful. Lin Feng was very satisfied. Outside, Feng Wanxian looked at Lin Feng and said, "Back then, you participated in the matter of the 9 regions. I guess you must be a thorn in the eyes of all the clans, right? It's better to leave the heavenly sage great world as soon as possible." Lin Feng said, "I am only 1 step away from breaking through to the Emperor realm. I want to break through in the heavenly sage great world before leaving. There are indeed many forces from the myriad races that want to kill me, but it is not that easy for them to do so. I can use the experts of the myriad races to temper my cultivation. I hope to reach a peak state when I break through to the Emperor realm. Since you have made up your mind, you must be very careful. These forces from the myriad races are much more terrifying than you imagined. When they invaded the 9 regions, they probably did not use their trump cards. If they did, the outcome would be hard to say." Feng Wanxian said. Lin Feng was shocked. Clearly, Feng Wanxian had a better understanding of the myriad races. What was the trump card that Feng Wanxian was talking about? Lin Feng asked curiously, "What exactly is the trump card that Senior is talking about?" Feng Wanxian said, "The ancient experts that sealed themselves in the stone. No one knows how terrifying their cultivation is." Hearing that, Lin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. If even Feng Wanxian was using such words to describe the myriad races' trump cards, one could imagine how terrifying the myriad races' trump cards were. Feng Wanxian said, "Fortunately, these trump cards can only be used when the myriad races are in danger of being wiped out. At other times, they cannot be used." Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief at Feng Wanxian's words. But then again, it seemed to make sense. Those trump cards naturally could not be used casually. Every time they were used, the cost would be enormous. "Where are those trump cards?" Lin Feng asked. "Myriad Saints Mountain. It is the holy land of the myriad races. Although the alliance of holy war, alliance of immortals, and alliance of fiendish demons are like fire and water, the 3 forces will never have any disputes at Myriad Saints Mountain. That is because Myriad Saints Mountain is the holy land of the myriad races. Every few years, the 3 forces will go there to worship their ancestors. At that time, some of the young experts will fight in the arena. The winner will be qualified to enter the depths of Myriad Saints Mountain to undergo a baptism. It is said that once they undergo the baptism, they will obtain great benefits." "I see." Lin Feng could not help but nod. Lin Feng then asked, "Senior, what are your plans?" "I plan to return to the Reincarnation Immortal sect to take a look. I wonder how the reincarnation immortal sect is doing. After that, I will look for Lord Tortoise's whereabouts. Feng Wanxian said. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, Senior, thank you for remembering my master. Feng Wanxian said, although Lord Tortoise is not my master, he has guided me in my cultivation many times. Let's part ways here. Senior, take care, Lin Feng said. Feng Wanxian nodded and said, You are alone in the heavenly sage great world. You must be careful. The two of them exchanged a few words, and then they parted ways. Feng Wanxian flew toward the astral world. As for Lin Feng, he left the area where the Master of Destiny was. He flew in the direction of Metal Stone City. He had no idea where Wu Liang Daoist had gone. Lin Feng wanted to join forces with Wu Liang Daoist. They were going to explore the myriad races cemetery of the Holy War Alliance together. Chapter 36-37. The Golden Stone City was still very lively, but now a large number of cultivators had entered the Forest of Destiny. Therefore, the current Golden Stone City was not at its most lively time. When Lin Feng arrived at the Golden Stone City, he returned to the place where he first stayed. He inquired for a while. Only then did he know that the immeasurable Taoist had not returned. He did not know where the immeasurable Taoist had been teleported to. Lin Feng planned to wait for a while. He rented a courtyard in the courtyard area of the inn, and then carried the unconscious Wu Yuehan out of the mountain river ring. Then he placed her on the bed. This woman, who was like a top-grade beauty, was now weak and pale. Although the monster's poison had been neutralized, however, it had also caused serious damage to Wu Yuehan. Fortunately, Wu Yuehan's cultivation was relatively strong. Otherwise, she would have died long ago. Lin Feng entered the time and space. He planned to refine the 7-colored holy flower and half of the dragon crystal. Lin Feng first took out the 7-colored holy flower. Then he swallowed the 7-colored holy flower. Then the immemorial dragonesque elephant art was activated, and his body began to absorb the power of the 7-colored holy flower. Time passed day by day. The 7-colored holy flower and half of the dragon crystal were refined by Lin Feng one after another. After refining these 2 heaven and earth treasures, Lin Feng once again obtained 2 primordial spirits. Now, Lin Feng already had 1 main primordial spirit and 5 auxiliary primordial spirits. At most, he could do 6 things at once. This was a rather heaven-defying ability. Lin Feng flew out of the time and space. He found that Wu Yuehan was still unconscious, but her complexion was much better than before. Lin Feng reached out and checked Wu Yuehan's pulse. Then he couldn't help but frown slightly. Wu Yuehan's pulse was weak. It seemed to be caused by the poison. In such a situation, it was not suitable to take any elixirs, because when one's body was in an extremely weak state, consuming such nourishing things would be counterproductive. Lin Feng sat on the bed and then helped Wu Yuehan up. Lin Feng let Wu Yuehan sit in front of him. Next, Lin Feng's left hand was placed on Wu Yuehan's lower abdomen, while his right hand was placed on Wu Yuehan's back. Lin Feng's magic power slowly flowed into Wu Yuehan's body. Lin Feng hoped to use his magic power to nourish Wu Yuehan's body. In that case, Wu Yuehan might be able to recover faster. This was the only way Lin Feng could think of at the moment. As Lin Feng's spiritual power poured into Wu Yuehan's body, Wu Yuehan's originally cold body also began to warm up. Her face, which was originally as pale as a sheet of paper, now had a touch of rosy color, especially Wu Yuehan's lips. Originally, Wu Yuehan's lips were pale. Now, it was starting to turn pink. Lin Feng revealed a happy expression. It seemed that he had used his magic power to nourish Wu Yuehan's body. Indeed, it had a great effect on Wu Yuehan. As time passed, Wu Yuehan's body gradually recovered. After an unknown amount of time, Wu Yuehan's long eyelashes fluttered. The next moment, she opened her eyes. When she opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was Lin Feng beside her. Then, she saw the ambiguous posture with Lin Feng and immediately blushed. Of course, Wu Yuehan also knew that Lin Feng was healing her, and she was very grateful. Looking at Lin Feng, whose eyes were tightly closed, Wu Yuehan suddenly felt a rush of excitement. Did he save me? Wu Yuehan could not help but think in Han Xian. Wu Yuehan still remembered the scene very clearly. She was attacked by the monster, and because of the poison, she instantly fainted. Wu Yuehan originally thought that she was going to die. But who would have thought that she would be saved by someone? Although Wu Yuehan did not know what happened after she fainted. However, Wu Yuehan could roughly guess the scene at that time. At this time, Lin Feng also opened his eyes. Seeing that Wu Yuehan had woken up, Lin Feng was very happy. "You're awake. How do you feel?" Lin Feng asked. "I feel fine. Thank you for saving me," Wu Yuehan said with a red face. A man and a woman alone in a room. Although it was to heal her and it was pure, Wu Yuehan was destined to have never experienced such things. Moreover, it was the first time she had such contact with a man. Therefore, she was very shy. Lin Feng got up, put on his shoes, and said, "Fairy has just woken up. Have a good rest. You can call me Yuehan in the future," Wu Yuehan said with a red face. Lin Feng called her Fairy, which was more or less distant. Wu Yuehan did not know why she took the initiative to let Lin Feng call her Yuehan. Generally, only a relatively close relationship could call a woman that. Wu Yuehan suddenly felt that she was a bit attached to Lin Feng. Lin Feng was slightly stunned, then nodded. He did not stay in Wu Yuehan's room for long. Lin Feng left Wu Yuehan's room and let her rest. In the next few days, Lin Feng would use his magic power to nourish Wu Yuehan's body every day. The two sides had more and more contact, and their relationship became much closer. Lin Feng was still waiting for the immeasurable Taoist to arrive, but that damn Taoist still did not come. Lin Feng was already planning to leave. He wanted to go directly to the Sacred War Alliance's Myriad Races Cemetery. Perhaps he could wait for the immeasurable Taoist there. As for Wu Yuehan, her recovery was already quite good, and there was no banquet that lasted forever. Lin Feng planned to bid farewell to Wu Yuehan. That night, the bright moon hung high in the sky. Wu Yuehan seemed to know that Lin Feng was planning to leave, and she looked a little melancholic. Lin Feng sat on the roof and looked at the moon. Looking up at the moon, he lowered his head and thought of home. What was home? Home was parents, relatives, friends, and fellow disciples. Lin Feng worked hard to make himself stronger and stronger. He cultivated hard in order to be able to reunite with his parents and relatives one day. Then they would live together peacefully, enjoy the warmth of family. And family was extremely important to Lin Feng, who lost his mother at a young age. Wu Yuehan flew up and sat beside Lin Feng. Under the moon, Wu Yuehan was like a fairy from the moon palace that had fallen to the mortal world. She was so beautiful and holy. Where does the young master plan to go next? Yuehan wants to train with the young master, Wu Yuehan said. She said these words to a woman. Lin Feng naturally understood the feelings contained in it. If Lin Feng wanted to take Wu Yuehan, it was just a matter of pushing the boat with the current. But Lin Feng could not let Wu Yuehan follow him. First, Wu Yuehan had not completely recovered and needed to rest for a while. Second, because Lin Feng was a thorn in the side of the Sacred War Alliance, he would definitely be in danger. If he brought Wu Yuehan along, it would not benefit Wu Yuehan. Chapter 36-38. Lin Feng said, "Fairy's body has not fully recovered yet. You should return to your family to recuperate. I will recover very soon. I will definitely not become a burden to young master." Wu Yuehan bit her lips and said. Wu Yuehan was very intelligent. When Lin Feng said those words, she already knew what Lin Feng was thinking. A goddess like Wu Yuehan had countless pursuers. She should have been incomparably arrogant. She didn't want to look at countless geniuses. Being rejected by a man had never happened before. So, when Lin Feng had politely refused her, she felt like she should have left arrogantly. This was in line with her temperament as a goddess of heaven. However, Wu Yuehan did not do that. Because she knew, if it was really for face, he turned around and left. This farewell, perhaps it would be an eternal farewell. Compared to face, Wu Yuehan clearly knew what she wanted more. So, she did not leave. Instead, she used an almost pleading tone, hoping to stay by Lin Feng's side. It was the hardest to accept a beauty's grace. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He wanted to reject Wu Yuehan again, but after seeing Wu Yuehan's exquisite and beautiful face, it was really hard to have the courage to reject such a peerless beauty. Can I bring Yuehan along? Wu Yuehan's beautiful eyes stared at Lin Feng without blinking. Lin Feng reached out and gently caressed that exquisite and beautiful face. Wu Yuehan was wild with joy as she threw herself into Lin Feng's embrace. In the end, Lin Feng was unable to wait for immeasurable Taoist to return. He did not bring Wu Yuehan along, because the following journey was too dangerous. What Wu Yuehan wanted was a result, a promise. And Lin Feng told Wu Yuehan that he would go to the Immortal God Alliance to visit her soon. Only then did Wu Yuehan agree. Lin Feng and Wu Yuehan bid farewell. Wu Yuehan headed to the Immortal God Alliance, and Lin Feng headed to the Sacred War Alliance's Myriad Tribes Cemetery. The Myriad Races Cemetery of the Sacred War Alliance was located in the Sacred War Ancient Forest. The Holy Battle Ancient Forest was an ancient forest. In the depths of the Holy Battle Ancient Forest, there was a place. A total of 95 enormous dragon veins gathered together to form the 9-5 Supreme Terrain. One had to know. The location of a dragon vein could be considered a place with good feng shui. Not to mention the place where the 95 dragon veins gathered. It was perfectly compatible with the way of the 9 and 5 Supreme that the ancient Saint Emperor followed. And this place was obviously an extremely dangerous place, because this place was heavily guarded. Furthermore, there was an Emperor Realm Master overseeing it. The Holy War Alliance had set up a terrifying killing array with the 95 dragon veins as the center. Any cultivator who wanted to enter and rob the tomb. Basically, they wouldn't have a good ending. 3 months later, Lin Feng arrived at this place. When he arrived at this place, Lin Feng stood at the periphery and observed the Myriad Tribes Cemetery. In the depths, dragon chi surged and purple light spewed out. It was indeed a place with good feng shui. Burial technique. Many people thought it was a superstition. But to be honest, burial technique wasn't a superstition. Burial technique contained the great Tao of heaven and earth, and a place with good feng shui was related to the fate of heaven and earth. Therefore, a place with good feng shui was often chosen to be buried in a place with good feng shui. This way, it could bring good fortune to future generations. This saying, it did sound fleeting and ephemeral, but it was true. Just like the saying of fate, it seemed ethereal, but it contained the great Tao of heaven and earth. Therefore, those top forces were extremely strict when it came to choosing a place with good feng shui. Not every place had the qualifications to become a place with good feng shui. Because the Holy War Alliance consisted of 20 to 30 royal families, hundreds of royal families, and other large and small myriad families. The composition was extremely complicated. These forces were also secretly scheming and weren't as united as they seemed on the surface. And between these forces, there was an inseparable relationship. Therefore, the relationship between these forces of the Holy War Alliance was very difficult to completely untangle. These forces also had their own clan's burial grounds. Most of the people who died in their clan were buried in their clan's burial grounds. For example, Taoist Wu Liang had gone to the ancestral land of the Golden Saint Lion clan to dig up the graves of their ancestors. Halfway through, he was discovered. Since all the major forces had their own graveyards, why would the forces of the Holy War Alliance build a Myriad Races graveyard? This matter could be traced back to a very, very long time ago. At that time, when the otherworldly creatures invaded, the Holy War Alliance, the Immortal God Alliance, the Demon Alliance, and the rest of the 7 major alliances were formed. These 7 alliances worked together to repel the invasion of the otherworldly creatures. That battle was too tragic, with countless deaths and injuries. Thus, the Holy War Alliance chose a place with good feng shui and buried all the experts who died in the Holy War Alliance in a cemetery. This was the origin of the Holy War Alliance's Myriad Races Cemetery. Later, after countless storms, of the original 7 alliances, only 3 remained, and the Holy War Alliance still maintained their original traditions. Once the experts who contributed to the Holy War Alliance died, they would be buried in the Holy War Alliance's Myriad Races Cemetery. Of course, among the various clans of the Holy War Alliance, Those experts who didn't contribute to the Holy War Alliance would only be buried in the cemetery built by their clans. Lin Feng paced back and forth in the outer area of the Myriad Races cemetery. He was waiting for the immeasurable Taoist to arrive. Lin Feng knew that the damned Taoist would definitely come. Perhaps he might come late, but he definitely wouldn't not come. That night, Lin Feng rested in the forest. Above the 9 heavens, the silver moon was like a plate. But in the latter half of the night, the moon was gradually eaten away. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. Heavenly dog devours the moon. Lin Feng stood up. Then he frowned. Heavenly dog devours the moon. This wasn't an auspicious event. In the legends, it was written that heavenly dog devours the moon. 100 ghosts walk at night. 10,000 demons appear, calamity and chaos. Of course, Lin Feng couldn't determine whether these legends were true or not. However, heavenly dog devours the moon was indeed not a good thing. Could it be that something has happened? Lin Feng frowned. He felt that perhaps something unknown had really happened. It was just that he did not know what it was. The matter of heavenly dog devours the moon cast a shadow over Lin Feng's heart. 3 days later, it was still night. Intense fluctuations were transmitted from within the Myriad Races cemetery, followed by the eruption of a great battle. Someone entered the Myriad Races cemetery to rob the tombs? Lin Feng was shocked. Someone must have wanted to rob the tombs. They were discovered by the experts guarding the Myriad Races cemetery. He didn't know if it was the immeasurable Taoist. Chapter 36-39. Although the Myriad Races cemetery was heavily guarded, it was unrealistic to stop Lin Feng from entering. When Lin Feng arrived at the Myriad Races cemetery, he realized that a huge battle had broken out. About a dozen cultivators were surrounded by the experts of the Myriad Races. The cultivators who were surrounded were all wearing golden armor. Each of them had a deep and powerful aura. Tomb raiding officers. When he saw those cultivators, Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. They were actually tomb raiding officers. Mountain-moving Taoist, tomb raiding officer, tomb raiding officer. These were the 3 great inheritances of the tomb raiding world of the cultivation world. There were very few people in the mountain-moving Taoist lineage. The immeasurable Taoist was a mountain-moving Taoist. The tomb raiding officer and tomb raiding officer's lineage were still very powerful and had many branches. These 3 lineages each had their own abilities. Therefore, it was hard to say who was stronger or weaker. Lin Feng originally thought that the immeasurable Taoist had entered the Myriad Races cemetery to rob the tomb. Hence, he was discovered. But who would have thought that the tomb raiders weren't the immeasurable Taoist, but a group of tomb raiding officers? There were too many experts buried in the Myriad Tribe's cemetery since ancient times. Hence, there were too many precious burial items in the cemetery. Naturally, they would be targeted by a large number of cultivators. It wasn't just the tomb raiders. Righteous, evil, demon, and other cultivators were all staring at the Myriad Races cemetery. Tomb raiders weren't the only ones who liked to make money from the dead. Everyone liked to do this kind of thing. But the wealth of the dead wasn't something that anyone could covet. If they were careless, they might die without a burial ground, especially when robbing the tombs of these large factions. Lin Feng didn't show himself. He was secretly observing this battle. More than 10 tomb raiding officers were very powerful when they joined forces. They were surrounded by 200 to 300 cultivators of the Myriad Races. The Myriad Races even sent out 12 divine emperors, 9 immortal emperors, 5 imperial lords, and 2 emperor sect experts. They were actually unable to kill these tomb raiding officers. On the contrary, the cultivators of the Myriad Races suffered continuous losses. Those tomb raiding officers dared to come to the Myriad Races cemetery to rob tombs. Naturally, they were powerful and confident in themselves. If they didn't have some skills, they wouldn't dare to come to the Myriad Races. The dozen tomb raiders were about to break out of the encirclement. But at this moment, a cold voice came from the depths of the mountain range. "How dare you behave so atrociously in our Myriad Races cemetery? You're really courting death." Along with this cold voice, a voice rang out. Immediately after, a cultivator stepped forward, 1 step at a time. He was a middle-aged cultivator with a square face and an ordinary appearance. However, his aura was abnormally terrifying. When he saw the middle-aged cultivator, he was shocked. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The middle-aged cultivator's aura was very similar to the aura of a cultivator from the Sacred God clan. It seemed like he was an expert from the Sacred God race, the #1 race among the 10,000 races. Moreover, this was an Emperor Realm Master. His cultivation base. It was simply unfathomable. Shang Dongchen. Upon seeing this cultivator, the leading Tomb Raider's expression changed slightly. The Tomb Raider clearly recognized the middle-aged cultivator. Their faces were also covered by armor, so it was impossible to see what they looked like. However, the middle-aged cultivator couldn't see their faces. However, by sensing their aura, the middle-aged cultivator actually recognized the identity of the cultivator who had just spoken. So it's you. We met 500,000 years ago? In the Sacred Emperor Great World's Longevity Ridge? Shang Dongchen looked at the leading Tomb Raider with an indifferent expression. That's right. You sure have a good memory. The leader of the Tomb Raiders said with a cold expression, I couldn't kill you 500,000 years ago. Today, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings. Shang Dongchen said with a cold smile, his voice containing monstrous killing intent. When he heard Shang Dongchen's words, the leader of the Tomb Raiders sneered. Aren't you being a little too presumptuous? If we want to leave this place, you can't stop us. Ha 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 ha, what if the two of us join in? Can we stop all of you? At this moment, loud laughter came from the depths of the mountain range. Then, two cultivators stepped forward. Surprisingly, the two cultivators who stepped forward were also Emperor Realm experts. The cultivator on the left was an old man from the ancient god clan called Shun Xiu Qi. The cultivator on the right was a middle-aged cultivator from the Sky Devil clan called Murong Yi. Both of them had extremely powerful auras and unfathomable cultivation. Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked when he saw the two Emperor-level experts. Emperor-level experts were considered the top fighting force among the myriad clans. Apart from the royal clans of the myriad clans, there were also experts of this level among the Imperials. As for the rest of the clans, there were probably no Emperor-level experts among them. Such experts were definitely a very small proportion among the vast number of cultivators of the myriad races. Such experts were definitely the best. However, there were actually 3 Emperor-level experts in the myriad clan cemetery. This was really beyond Lin Feng's expectations. Break out of here quickly. The expression of the leader of the Tomb Raiders changed drastically when he saw the 2 Emperor Realm Masters behind them. Then he shouted. If there was only one Emperor-level cultivator, Shang Dongchen, he still had the confidence to fight him. But now, however, 3 Emperor Realm Masters had appeared. This battle, how could he continue fighting? Therefore, the first thing the leading Tomb Raider thought of was to quickly break out of the encirclement with his subordinates. Otherwise, the consequences would be extremely bad. You can't escape. Shang Dongchen sneered. Then, Shang Dongchen quickly pounced on the leader of the Tomb Raiders. Xin Xiuqi and Murong Yi, the 2 venerable sovereigns, also pounced on the leader of the Tomb Raider. The 3 Emperor-level experts besieged the leading Tomb Raider. The rest of the myriad clan's cultivators besieged the remaining dozen or so Tomb Raiders. Although the remaining dozen or so Tomb Raiders were extremely powerful, they weren't able to withstand the pressure. However, after all, they were too few in number while the myriad clans had too many cultivators. After a short stalemate, they couldn't hold on any longer. The reason why they were able to suppress the myriad clan's cultivators before was that the leading Tomb Raider was an Emperor-level expert. Now that the leading Tomb Raider was besieged by the 3 great experts, he had no time to care about them. Puff, puff. The sound of tearing could be heard one after another. The dozen or so Tomb Raiders were directly killed by the myriad clan's cultivators. Their corpses quickly fell from the air into the forest. The leading Tomb Raider was also seriously injured under the siege of the 3 Emperor-level experts. His chest was pierced through by a terrifying sword chi, which was almost a fatal injury. The leading Tomb Raider took out a dozen powerful jade talismans. Those jade talismans exploded and forced the 3 Emperor-level experts to retreat. Then, Chapter 3640. Don't let him get away. The three sovereigns spoke at the same time. Their voices were indifferent and filled with endless killing intent. The leader of the Tomb Raiders had been severely injured, and there was only one of them left. The three Emperor Realm Masters were naturally full of confidence. They believed that it would not be difficult to kill the leading Tomb Raider. The leading Tomb Raider increased his speed to the extreme. However, his injuries were too severe. The sword chi had directly shattered his heart meridian. It was an injury that was almost impossible to heal with medicine. Anyone who suffered such an injury, it would almost be fatal. It was naturally the same for the leader of the Tomb Raiders. Unless he had the immortal divine body like Lin Feng, which could repair damaged bodies. However, the leading Tomb Raider did not have the immortal divine body. He felt that his speed was getting slower and slower. His body was getting more and more tired. His consciousness was getting fainter and fainter. Even his eyes became blurry. The leading Tomb Raider could not hold on any longer. The situation was extremely bad. The three Emperor Realm Masters sneered at the same time. They looked at the leading Tomb Raider. It was like a cat teasing a mouse. It was a look full of contempt and disdain. Are you ready to die? Shang Dongchen's face showed a grim expression. He raised his right hand and directly slashed out a dazzling sword chi. The sword chi, it pierced through the void. Just as he was about to land a fatal blow on the leader of the Tomb Raiders, the Tomb Raiders' leader's body suddenly stopped in midair. The leading Tomb Raider could not hold on any longer. His body fell toward the ground. As a result, Shang Dongchen's attack actually landed in midair. The corner of Shang Dongchen's mouth twitched slightly. This attack was supposed to be a sure kill attack on the leader of the Tomb Raiders. Who would have thought that the leading Tomb Raider's body had almost reached its limit and fell to the ground? Instead, he was lucky enough to dodge the attack. Shang Dongchen was about to rush forward and grab the leading Tomb Raider. However, at this moment, the void trembled slightly. A cultivator wearing a mysterious suit of armor appeared. Then, the cultivator grabbed the leader of the Tomb Raiders. The person who appeared was naturally Lin Feng. Seeing the mysterious person who suddenly appeared, the three Emperor Realm Masters couldn't help but reveal dense killing intent on their faces. Snatching someone from their hands, wasn't that just courting death? The three Emperor Realm Masters attacked at the same time, condensing powerful divine abilities. Shang Dongchen used a move called 10,000 Fiend Shattering Sky Technique to attack Lin Feng. Shin Xiuqi used a divine ability called 10,000 Elephant Strength Technique to attack Lin Feng. Murong Yi, on the other hand, used a move called Bloodbath Divine Ability to attack Lin Feng. The divine abilities of the three Emperor Realm Masters were extremely powerful. Just a little carelessness. There was a risk of death. Facing the attacks of three great emperors, Lin Feng showed no signs of fear. He used the supremacy of the 9 heavens and 10 earths technique. This powerful divine ability displayed an extremely heaven-defying might. It directly collided with the divine abilities of the three great emperors. Then, both sides were annihilated. At this moment, Lin Feng grabbed the leader of the Tomb Raiders and quickly flew away. Who are you? How dare you snatch someone that our Sacred War Alliance wants to kill? Sir, are you trying to make an enemy of our Sacred War Alliance? If you let go of this person and leave now, we'll pretend that nothing happened. If you don't know what's good for you, don't blame us for being impolite. The three Emperor Realm Masters said one after another. Someone played the villain. Someone played the villain. They wanted Lin Feng to hand over the leader of the Tomb Raiders to them. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent, and he couldn't help but sneer twice. A threat to the three Emperor Realm Masters. Lin Feng didn't care at all. Although the three Emperor Realm Masters were very powerful, it wasn't difficult for Lin Feng to escape from their hands. Seeing Lin Feng leave with the leader of the Tomb Raiders without looking back, the three Emperor Realm Masters' faces became extremely gloomy. Their eyes flickered with dense killing intent. Lin Feng dared to ignore the three Emperor Realm Masters. Wasn't this a slap to their faces? Now, the three Emperor Realm Masters wanted to kill Lin Feng. They sped up, trying to catch up to Lin Feng. But soon, the corners of the three Emperor Realm Masters' mouths twitched violently. Because, when they sped up to catch up to Lin Feng, they were shocked to find that Lin Feng was also speeding up. Besides, Lin Feng's speed was too fast. He was gradually increasing the distance between them. Activate the array. The three Emperor Realm Masters' faces were gloomy. They began to activate the array in the 95 dragon veins. But it was too late. Before the formation was activated, Zhang Xian's eyes lit up. Lin Feng had already rushed out. Don't chase a cornered enemy, Shang Dongchen said with a gloomy expression, although he also wanted to catch Lin Feng and cut Lin Feng into pieces. However, they couldn't leave the Myriad Tribe's cemetery. Once they left, it would be a dereliction of duty. Although they were extremely angry and filled with killing intent. However, the three great emperors still suppressed their anger. In a mountain forest 30 miles away, Lin Feng stopped. He placed the leader of the Tomb Raiders on the ground and let him lean against a tree. The leader of the Tomb Raiders was not dead yet, but his aura was extremely weak. Obviously, nothing could be done to reverse the situation. I really didn't expect that I would end up like this, the leader of the Tomb Raiders said with a bitter smile. Your Excellency, you were careless, Lin Feng said. Yes, a single mistake can lead to everlasting regret. This fellow cultivator must learn from my lesson in the future, the leader of the Tomb Raiders said. Lin Feng was silent and didn't answer. A light flashed in the right hand of the leader of the Tomb Raiders. An item appeared in his hand. Lin Feng looked over and found that it was a black, ferocious beast made of stone. Its body was like a tiger and leopard, and its head and tail were like a dragon. Its color was black and gold, and there was a pair of wings on its shoulders that couldn't be spread out, and a corner of its head was tilted back. That ferocious beast was actually a Pichio. The Pichio wasn't big, only a dozen centimeters tall. It was made of an unknown material. It was densely covered with runes. Each rune was extremely ancient and emitted a mysterious power. There were also records of the Pichio in myths and legends. It was written in the classic of mountains and seas, the record of divine beasts. The Pichio was ferocious and mighty. It was in charge of patrolling in the sky, preventing demons, ghosts, plagues, and diseases from disturbing the heavenly court. In ancient times, people often used the name Pichio to refer to the army. Legend had it that the Pichio violated the laws of heaven, and the Jade Emperor punished it to only feed on wealth from all directions. It could swallow all things but not drain them. It could attract wealth and gather treasures. It could only enter and not exit. After this story spread, the Pichio was regarded as an auspicious beast that attracted wealth and treasures. The leader of the Tomb Raiders said, this black stone Pichio was obtained from an ancient tomb. It is said that there is a great secret hidden in the black stone Pichio. Now that I can't hold on any longer, I'll give this treasure to you. I hope that one day, you can unlock the secret in it. When that time comes, don't forget to burn incense for me and tell me the secret of the black stone Pichio. If my wish is fulfilled, I can die in peace. Okay, I promise you. Lin Feng took the black stone Pichio and said, thank you. The leader of the Tomb Raiders said sincerely. Then he couldn't hold on any longer. His body twitched a few times. Then he died. An expert at the Sovereign Realm. He died just like that. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.